Stand up, New York Knicks fans, and we are back, and we are live. Sim, we took a little 2-week hiatus. Excited to get this show back on air.
Yes, sir. My man, Entertainah, what is popping? What's going on with you, man? Look. Well, first, let me just say, Knicks family, what is popping with you guys? I'm glad you guys are here, and we're doing something kind of a little bit special, a little bit new, man. We're on Entertainah's channel. We're on my channel. You know, we're doing this together. We're having a good time with it, and hopefully it turns out right for everybody. But it looks like it's working well enough right now.
Yeah. I just want to say hello to a couple of people in my chat. What's going on? King, Scottzilla, Luan's in the house, Yvonne, Fontabamba, Benjamin, Mega, Last Jedi, Texas Savage, Luan. Thank you to everybody for popping in. I think Scott I saw in the chat as well. Obviously, it's the NBA offseason right now, Sim. So, but there's a couple of Knicks stories we're going to get into, the schedule, Carmelo, a couple other things I'm sure we'll talk about. Obviously, DeMarcus Cousins with that travesty of a story today. How's your week been?
Oh, my week has been busy as usual. You know what I'm saying? A super busy week. I mean, what's today? Today's Thursday. See, I don't even know the day. That's what I'm saying. I don't even know the day, right? I don't know the day. Monday, Tuesday night, I drove down to Lynchburg, Virginia, which is about 4 to 5 hours away from me. Got up in the morning. My daughter did a college visit there. And then after that visit, that same day, we drove an hour to another school, visited at that school. And then I drove back the same day. So last night, I got in. Today's Thursday. We got in last night about 11:30. And it's not just, when you're visiting schools, it's not just you're standing there listening. We walk both campuses. We're walking both campuses. Then we spoke to the track coach with one of them. Then we spoke to the basketball coach with another one. Just busy, man. Super busy. But obviously it's going to be worth it in the end,
Yeah. I saw that. I saw that on your community post that you were going around from college to college. So that's got to be really exciting times for you and your daughter.
Yeah.
They got to be, really exciting stuff. Now, I know you're going to be in the New York area on Monday. I'm looking forward to meeting you again for the third time. Yep. I know you said you're filming some kind of commercial, and then I'll meet up with some of you and some of your community afterward. Yeah.
I'm doing something with a company called Distant Moon Media. They're filming something for Booking.com, and so some of the VIP members. I'm going to send out an email to the VIP members tonight to say when and where they can meet. We can just all kind of sit and talk and have a good time. But we're filming it. I don't know exactly what it is. I just know it's for Booking.com, and we're doing some kind of, we're talking about the Knicks. It's about Knicks fans, right? So we're talking about the Knicks, and we're also talking about just New York City basketball, just basketball in general, and how, it means something coming from the playgrounds all the way up to playing in the NBA. So it should be pretty cool, man. We're gonna have some of the VIP members. They'll be able to be in the video, so it should be pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to that, man. Monday's gonna be a fun day. But yeah, as far as today goes, where do you want to start? You want to start with the Knicks schedule? You want to start with, Boogie Cousins? And this was a guy that I kind of was like, you know what? He's kind of worth a flyer. The Lakers signed him for like $2 million. And, obviously a former top 15 player in the league. He was okay last year with the Warriors. I think he played about half the season, averaged like 16 and 8. But, he kind of wore down in the playoffs, whatever it was. But, today they find out now he's had his third serious injury for the third straight year. So his career, for the most part, in terms of being a big impact player, I think is over at this point.
Yeah, I think so, man. it's just so tough, and I didn't hear too much about it. But is it the same Achilles?
It's his ACL.
See that? Oh, his ACL. See that? I'm just wow. So he tore his ACL. Is it the same leg though?
That I'm not sure. Yeah, that I'm not sure. I'm sure somebody in your chat or my chat will know that. I'm not sure in terms of the same leg, but it's his third huge injury in 3 years.
Wow. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, I know that. Man, it's so sad. Because DeMarcus Cousins was he was a budding star. People thought he was going to be the best center in the league one day and all that type of stuff. And now who knows what's going to happen to his career. I don't want to say it's a good thing, but there were rumors that the Knicks had interest in signing DeMarcus Cousins before free agency.
I know. It was all over knicksblog.com. I even said, I would have been fine with it for $2 million. I didn't know how he would gel with the young players. That's what I would have been worried about. I think the guys that they brought in are kind of better mentors than a Cousins would be. Cousins doesn't have the best reputation in terms of being like a great teammate. So I think it was a good move, even before this injury, not to go out and get him. I think a guy like a Marcus Morris, even a Taj Gibson, I think it could be a better mentor than a Boogie Cousins. So I was kind of glad the Knicks didn't go out and get him.
Right.
But yeah, man, just sad. It's just sad because this guy, when he went to the Pelicans, him and Anthony Davis for that half season before he got hurt, they looked like they could have dominated the league together. Right.
It's tough. I guess we'll find out, what it's going to be like for DeMarcus Cousins. So, he'll be out this season, and then obviously he'll come back, hopefully. Well, he should come back next season. He should come back next season. And I guess we'll see. Look, man, now he has the Achilles to worry about. Yeah. ACL. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him to even get a job in the NBA. You know what I mean? He's going to be, what? He's going to make probably now, veterans minimum, at least that 1 year coming back. Well,
yeah, he'll probably get a similar deal to what he did this year, like a prove it, 1 year, $2 million contract.
That's what I was just going to ask. How much did he, what was his contract with the Lakers?
I think it was right around there, like a 1 year. It wasn't much. It was like 1 year, $2 million. Everybody was surprised. They thought he would have gotten more than he did.
Okay. All right. Okay. So he's got that contract. He's got his Lakers contract. So he'll make a little bit of money this year. He'll sit out for the year, and then maybe next season he'll pick up another veterans minimum contract. But man, I just feel bad for the guy. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah, you and me both, man. But as far, it is what it is. If we're going to talk about the Knicks tonight, there's a Knicks show, but I just wanted to touch on that because that was kind of the major story in the NBA world today. Obviously, as far as the Knicks goes, the big news is the schedule. The schedule just came out, and a lot of big games that I'm looking forward to. I think the game that I'm most I don't know if it's the game I'm most looking forward to, but definitely one of the premier games is going to be Dallas coming into New York early on in the season, the return of Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah.
We open up in San Antonio. We open up on the road for 2 games. One is in Brooklyn. I don't really count that as a road game. But, yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing KP come back here. The Lakers are later in the season. I think we got the Clippers very late in the season as well. But definitely a lot of big headline games I'm really looking forward to this year, but really looking forward to seeing KP. And I'm going to be curious to see how he's received at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, the one thing I want to say about this, and I talked about this on my show a couple of days ago. The one thing I will say about the schedule with Dallas, I feel like the NBA threw KP a bone. I do, because they play in Dallas like a week before, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they played I think it's November the 8th, maybe something like that. I don't know. But they play in Dallas a week before. And then they come to Madison Square Garden and they play in Madison Square Garden. Right? So then it's going to be, it's going to be on ESPN, one of the 3 nationally televised games that the Knicks have. Right? I feel like the reason why I say I feel like they threw him a bone is because they have that game in Dallas, which can kind of be a warm-up game, right? not that many people aren't going to hear about that game. Not like the game that's going to be on ESPN. I mean, people will hear about it, but not like the nationally televised game. So he goes to Dallas, gets one game in against the Knicks, right, with the new team.
Right.
Rick Carlisle, that he can now scheme and prepare and plan for the next game, and then KP can come back and have a good game at the Garden. I feel like they threw him a bone. Some people disagree with me. I feel like maybe they threw him a bone. You don't
think it's just a coincidence? You think they did that intentionally?
Well, I'll say this: the Knicks play. When you look at the schedule, I'm going to read off the schedule real quick. Let me see. I thought I had the schedule up here. And maybe I don't. I'm going to read off the schedule just real quick. The games surrounding the Dallas game. All
okay.
Right? So let me pull it up real fast so I can read it off correctly. All right. November. Okay. So they play Cleveland on November 10th. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me back up. They play Sacramento on November the 3rd. That is at home.
Okay.
Right. Then from Sacramento at home, from New York, they fly to Detroit.
Okay.
They play Detroit. Then from
on
Detroit,
the 5th?
They play Detroit on the I'm sorry. They play Detroit on the 6th.
Okay. So 2 days off.
Right. Then from Detroit, they fly to Dallas.
That doesn't make sense.
Right. And they play Dallas in Dallas. And then from Dallas, they fly back to New York to play Cleveland. And then they go to Chicago.
It's a waste of a lot of gas on the airplanes.
Yeah.
You would think that they'd want to keep it a little closer.
Right. So why wouldn't? So I mean, of course, schedules. Why wouldn't you play Detroit, and then from Detroit fly to Chicago, who you're gonna play a couple games later? Fly to Chicago, play Chicago, right, and then come home, play against Cleveland, and then maybe play Dallas on maybe a 2 or 3 game homestand.
You might be right, but we all know that the NBA schedule, it never makes sense. I mean, it's always a mess.
True.
They're always complaining about back-to-backs. The players are always complaining about getting tired. But it's possible. It's definitely possible that they threw him a bone.
Basically saying to me, I'm basically saying they want Kristaps Porzingis to play well. Not like they want him to play well. It's on national TV. He's playing against the Knicks. You're going to get ratings, and you want it to be a good showing by Kristaps Porzingis. That's kind of the way I feel on how it's going down. But I could be wrong. Maybe it's just me being a conspiracy theorist at this point in time.
You might be right, man. I mean, the NBA has always been known to, whether it be the referees, I remember that series with there's so many series where the referees made ridiculous calls. And then what was the name of the referee that got caught? Didn't one of the referees get caught for?
Yes. I forgot his name. I know what you're talking about, but I forgot his name. Yeah. I know what you're talking about, though.
Oh, thank you so much for the super chat, King Trizzy. King Trizzy, Sim, I don't know if you can see my chat. He's been having relationship problems. He keeps asking me for relationship advice. And he says that him and his girl just broke up. I'm sorry to hear that, King Trizzy. I hope everything works out for you, buddy. Well, let me ask you real quick, because we get a break in the Knicks, and we're going to get right back to it. He was telling me the other day that the girl wasn't texting him back after 30 minutes. I said, 30 minutes? You gotta relax a little bit. So you just got to think you're way too anxious.
Right, 30 minutes. Yeah, I mean, bro, 30 minutes, like, I don't know what time of day you were texting her, but she could have been at work. Maybe she had some work to do. She could have been taking a nap. She could have been taking a shower. Yeah, 30 minutes, man. You gotta give her a little bit of time, man. You gotta give her a little bit of time to text back. Did she text you back yet? That's what I want to know. Did she text you back?
No, unfortunately said they broke up.
Oh, okay.
But, there's a lot of fish in the sea. There's a lot of fish in the sea. You'll be all right.
Man. Yeah. It's a lot of ladies out there, man. Don't worry about it. If it's meant to be, I guess you'll come back together if it's meant to be, I guess.
Exactly.
You come back
What
together.
goes around comes around.
That's right. Big shout out to my man City for real. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate the super chat. And once I get a chance, I will see if I can get a chance to read it out. Oh, said Sim, where's the bucket hat? Let's get you the 10K on with my favorite. You're on with my favorite cannoli. Stand up. No doubt.
City for real. City for real is awesome, man. He always pops into my chat. I appreciate that. New York Flight, thank you so much for the super chat. Now he says if she's breathing, she's cheating. That's not the most optimistic approach to be giving our youth about women. Wow. But I've been there, so I get where you're coming from with that.
Yeah. And City, I don't have the bucket hat on today. I probably should have it on because I kind of need a little bit of shape up and stuff like that. But I had to rush in and get things going, man, because I was at my middle school basketball game tonight, and we took a hard L. We took a loss, which was okay. I don't care about that. But I had to rush in, and there was traffic, and the cops were cleaning up stuff out the street and all kinds of stuff. So, then I don't have it on tonight. I'll have it on next show. Whenever honestly, I'm not even sure.
Do you sell that bucket hat? I know you got I'm going to get the merchandise up probably in a month or so. I got to start working on that. But I know you got merch. Do you do the bucket hat?
Not yet. I am working on it. I have a guy who, as a matter of fact, I have a blue one here. He made it for me, and kind of testing it out to me. I wanted to make sure it looked good. It looks great, and so we're working on. I'm going to buy some from him, and then I'm going to sell them on the website. Yeah,
that's awesome. I'll definitely get one of those. I don't know how I would look in the bucket hat. I don't know if I got the right head for it.
I think you look great, man.
Yeah, you think I look good in the bucket hat?
You look great in the bucket hat. Yeah.
I was thinking about getting one of the New York Giants training camp bucket hats.
Yeah.
They always sell them at training camp because it's so hot out.
Right.
Speaking of which, Daniel Jones looked pretty good. I know we're going to get back to the Giants in a second. Knicks in a second. Daniel Jones looked pretty good, Sam.
Yeah, man. Look pretty good. I mean, there's going to be a full-blown controversy with the Giants. I'm just hoping that they have a plan, right? That the plan is Eli Manning's in his last year, right? Last year of his contract. That there's a plan to say, okay, we got Daniel Jones. We're going to let him go ahead and learn behind Eli. And depending on how the season is going, maybe he comes kind of like the same way it went with Kurt Warner and Eli Manning.
Yeah, I think Eli came in after 9 games or so, and it could be a very similar situation. Unless the Giants are playing great, then, you just ride it out. But,
right.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think around midseason we'll probably see Jones.
Yeah, man. So,
and I definitely got to have you on for one of these Giant games. I'll definitely have you on this year. That'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
I'll be looking forward to it.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Looking forward to it.
But going back to the schedule, most of the other big games that I saw on the Knicks schedule this year are late in the year. There was a lot of West Coast teams coming in late, like in March, February, April. It seemed to me, and I'm not looking at the schedule right now. Actually, I could probably pull it up. But it seemed to me that it was fairly favorable early on. But I could be wrong. But that's what, at least the home games, maybe the road games weren't. I wasn't really looking at the road games.
Well, yes, it is kind of favorable early on. The schedule is favorable early on. So, of course, the first 3 games, you got San Antonio, Brooklyn, and Boston. That's the first 3 games of the season. After those games, it gets a little easier. You got Chicago, Orlando. You play Boston again. Then you go on a stretch where the games are really winnable. There's Sacramento, Detroit, Dallas, Cleveland, Chicago, Dallas, Charlotte, Cleveland. So there's about 8 games in a row that are really winnable. That we at least right now we think could be winnable.
They got to get off based on that. They got to get off to a pretty good start because they got to build. If they want to be a competitive basketball team this year, because they want to build some confidence, right? This is a team coming off a 17-win year. You have an opportunity here early in the year, maybe in your first 15 games with a soft schedule, maybe you can get off to a nice 9-6 start, and build some confidence. And with that schedule, maybe that happens. And maybe they get some confidence and go from there. Because I do think this team, we say it all the time, since we've been doing the show, I do think this team has the talent on it to at least compete to make the playoffs. And maybe, if you get off to a good start, confidence has a lot to do with winning in any sport. And maybe the Knicks could take advantage of that soft schedule to start the year.
Yeah, and they're going to have to take advantage of that soft schedule to start the year, because after that, the schedule really gets tough, right? The schedule gets really tough. After they play Cleveland on November the 18th. Now, listen to this schedule. They play Philadelphia, San Antonio,
Jesus,
Brooklyn. Okay, Brooklyn, Toronto, Philadelphia, Boston, Milwaukee, Denver, Indiana, Portland, Golden State. Then they play Sacramento, and Sacramento's they're not a slouch.
They're not a pushover.
Right. Then they play Sacramento. Then they play Denver. You play Atlanta. Then you play Miami, and you play Milwaukee. That's a brutal schedule. I'm gonna.
They gotta get off to a 10-5 start after hearing that schedule.
I mean, look. I'm gonna read it one more time just so people get it. Okay, starting November the 20th, it's Philadelphia, San Antonio, Brooklyn, Toronto, Philadelphia again, Boston, Milwaukee, Denver, Indiana, Portland, Golden State, Sacramento. Get a little bit of a break. Then you're back at Denver, then Atlanta, then Miami, and Milwaukee.
How many games is that? 12?
That's
13.
I mean, so that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 games, and you play 14 playoff contenders in those 16 games.
They'll be lucky if they go 5-11 in those 16 games.
That's going to be brutal.
That's a brutal stretch.
Yeah, brutal stretch. And the Knicks have 13 back-to-backs, right? The first back-to-back is Brooklyn and Boston.
That's at the beginning of the year?
That's in the beginning of the season. Okay? The next back-to-back is San Antonio and Brooklyn.
Okay.
The next back-to-back after that is Boston and Milwaukee. Then Then Portland and Golden State. Then Miami and Milwaukee. And then in January, it's the Lakers in Utah.
Oh, my God.
That's tough.
Jesus, man. You get me depressed. Oh, my God. I'm trying to be optimistic with this team. That is brutal, Sim.
It is. That is some brutal stuff right there. I'm like, geez, like they just, I don't know. That's tough. That's pretty tough schedule in the beginning.
And the Celtics game, I think the storyline there is going to be Enes Kanter. I think that'll be the storyline to open up the year. And I'm sure, knowing Enes Kanter, he's going to have a headline quote for sure. He'll say something silly before that game, third game of the year.
Oh yeah, you know, Kanter, right?
We went to the home opener last year. Knicks did pretty good.
Yeah. Hopefully, we play Boston in the home opener. That's going to be a pretty good, exciting game. I can't wait for that. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, that should be a great game. Knicks Boston's always fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as far as the schedule goes, this year, like we said, we hope we compete for the playoffs. But based off that start, they got to come out swinging this year. They can't have, and I know they have a young team, but knowing that 16-game stretch, they have to come out of the gate swinging. They cannot get off to a slow start.
Exactly. They got to come out swinging, ready to go. And, I'm just hopefully, with the kind of team that we've built, we're going to be ready for it. I want to give a big shout out to my man, Uptown Twan. Thank you for the super chat. He said, it's been a minute, Sim. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm in the delivery room with my wife right now. He says, thanks for the entertainment with the Entertainah. I just want to ask you, though, Uptown, shouldn't you be paying attention to your wife? If you're in the delivery
He likes us that much, Sim.
Come on,
I get it. I don't blame him. I'd watch us, too.
I mean, geez. I hope that was the last thing that you got out, because your wife probably turned around and smacked you in the mouth and threw your phone out the delivery room and said, you need to pay attention here. But congratulations to you, though, my man. Congratulations. Hopefully everything goes well and you have a healthy child and everything. So congratulations, Uptown.
Yeah, congratulations, Uptown, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
By the way, I just want to say, anybody that is in my chat, if you've not done so, please go into the link in the description and subscribe to this man right here. Nothing But Knicks has a great, great basketball channel. If you are a Knicks fan or a basketball fan, you'll definitely want to check them out. So we'll be doing this every week in season. I'm sure we're going to be streaming some Knicks games together.
That's right.
Maybe doing some post games, maybe do the stream on mine and then the post game on yours, vice versa, whatever. But we're definitely going to be working together a lot in basketball season. So you're definitely not going to want to miss his channel. So please go over there and subscribe.
That's right. Go ahead and subscribe there. And make sure you subscribe to the Entertainah as well. Subscribe to him right now. He covers all New York sports. So if you're in my
I'll cover everything. I'll cover anything, Sam.
That's right. Yeah, I know anything. He might cover alligator wrestling.
As long as it's a New York alligator.
If it's a New York alligator, you find it in the sewer. If an alligator comes out the sewer, which has happened in the past.
It's true.
In the past. Right? Yeah, definitely make sure you go over there and sub up the Entertainah, man. I'm going to put his link in the chat to make sure you go over there and sub him up so you can sub him up right now.
Oh, King Trizzy, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, I subbed to Sim even though I'm a Heat fan. See, he's a Miami Heat fan, and he's still showing you love. There you go. Are you welcome, everybody? You don't got to be a Knicks fan.
That's right. Everybody. You don't have to be a Knicks fan at all. I love it when opposing teams come into the chat and talk, man.
Yeah, bring them on. When they come, bring them on.
That's fun. I'm hoping that this year we get a lot more fans from opposing teams come on in the chat and just kind of spar around with us as we're, when we're getting ready to play their team or whatever it is,
You'll start getting, as the Knicks get better, you'll start getting more and more.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to touch on, Carmelo Anthony. Obviously a former Knick, great Knick. Where would you rank Melo all time, by the way, as a Knick? Top 5? Top 10?
As a Knick.
Just as a Knick. I'm not talking about as a player, just as a Knick.
Wow.
Well, let's go over the guys that I think you have to be above him. Walt Clyde Frazier's above him.
Patrick
Ewing's above him.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to put Willis Reed above him?
Willis Reed above him.
Now, we're just talking as a Knick.
Right.
That's good. I mean, who else is in the discussion after that? I mean, DeBusschere is a Hall of Famer, right?
Earl the Pearl.
Earl the Pearl. Oakley, could you put Oakley above him? I mean, Oakley had a lot of success here.
He did have a lot of success here. Do I put Oakley above him? I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I love Charles Oakley.
Yeah.
I guess I'll say from I'm a big Carmelo Anthony fan, right? But from an emotional standpoint, I think I would put Charles Oakley over him just because he was part of so many good teams that I just loved.
I think Melo clearly was the better player, obviously. Okay. I think Oakley only made one All-Star team as a Knick. That was the year the Knicks had the 3 All-Stars with Oakley, Starks, and Ewing. Yeah. I don't know, though. I'm with you. I loved Oakley, but yeah, I think I'd have to put Melo above him. I mean, Melo won a scoring title. He was a top 5-6 player in the league for a good 2-3 year stretch as a Knick. But I really did love Oakley. He's probably my favorite Knick ever. I loved Oakley.
Yeah, I guess, if I'm looking from a basketball standpoint, let me go from a basketball standpoint. If I go from a basketball standpoint, yes, he's definitely over Carmelo Anthony.
You mean over Charles Oakley?
Over Charles Oakley. Yeah, from a basketball standpoint. Allen Houston, is Allen Houston over Carmelo Anthony?
It's close, and Sprewell.
It's close. It's close. I mean, he was part of a Knicks championship run. Well, NBA Finals run. Part of a Knicks NBA Finals run. How many All-Star games did Allen Houston make as a Knick? 2, 3?
Probably 2. Probably 2. Yeah. I don't know off the top of my head, but probably 2.
Yeah.
It's close. It is very close. I think I love both those guys too, but I'd probably have Melo above both of them. I think Melo's top 5. I think he's I think he just cracks the top 5.
Okay.
But Bernard King's another one too.
Yeah, Bernard King. I think I can agree with you though. Melo probably cracks the top 5. I would love to see Carmelo retire as a Knick, even if it's a one-day contract or something. I do not want to have him come and play for the team unless we have just a strong team and we're contenders and we have some strong leaders. But like right now, if he came for the team, if he came and played for the Knicks right now, he'd be one of the veteran leaders, and he'd be like maybe the strongest personality. Even though he's quiet and cool, he'd still be the strongest personality in the locker room, and I don't think that's what I want for this team. So
yeah, I know. I agree with you. King Trizzy, thank you again for the super chat. Really appreciate it. He said all fans except Philly fans. Yeah, exactly. We can't stand the Eagles. We can't stand the Sixers. Can't stand the Phillies. Exactly. King Trizzy, thank you again for the super chat. But yeah, what I wanted to talk about was today, Carmelo, they said, was working out with the players on the Nets. So I don't know if that means that there may potentially be a connection. Of course, a couple of weeks ago, we heard that Carmelo was thinking about retiring. And now he's saying that he still has the will to play and seems as if he wants to come back. The Nets may make some sense. I don't know about so much for this year because I don't think they're competing for a title this year, but they're still a playoff team. 2 years, they make a lot of sense for Carmelo to possibly chase a ring.
Yeah. Look for, just talking about Carmelo Anthony being in New York, the Nets would make some sense. I think they would make some sense. You have strong coaches over there. They're a playoff team. And, he was born in Brooklyn, raised in Brooklyn till he was 8 years old, right? Mm-hmm. It might be a good way for him to end his career there. I think that him personally, he's a Knick at heart. He's a Knicks fan at heart. But it could be a good fit for him to get 1 or 2 year run, and then he ended there. He still ends it in New York, still ends it in Brooklyn.
Yeah, and he kind of sticks it to the Knicks a little bit.
Yeah, right. Kind of sticks it to the Knicks a little bit, and yeah, I don't know. I feel bad for Melo. I feel like he can be on a team and he can contribute to a team somewhere. I don't know what's going on and why he seems to be it feels like he's getting blackballed out the NBA. I don't know why. I mean, I do understand, the whole thing with him not wanting to come off the bench and those type of things. He's never really been a locker room issue, a locker room problem. I don't know.
Well, I think at this point in his career, he's a guy that has to come off the bench.
Has to.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he has to accept that role, and he can be great at that. By the way, if he still has it in the tank, I always thought later in his career Carmelo would make a great sixth man. I mean, he's perfect for it. Now I'm not saying when he was at his best, but as he got later in his career, he's still a guy that could score. He's got a good jump shot. Doesn't need to be the best athlete in the world. He's still a very savvy player around the rim that could draw contact. I think Carmelo on the right team could still be an effective guy off the bench.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a matter of accepting that role.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that Carmelo Anthony's been through. How do I want to say it? He's been through the ringer a little bit, and I think right now he's willing to accept that role.
Oh, I think he has to. Yeah.
I think he's definitely willing to accept that role right now because he's how do I want to say it? He's been humbled. I think he's been very humbled, and he understands now, that the NBA will spit you out. And look, this is one thing. When people complain about players that want their money, and a lot of people complain about Carmelo Anthony wanting his money. This is why you get your money when you can get your money, because at some point in your career, teams aren't going to want you. You know what I mean? And you may still think that you can contribute. You may still think that you're whatever caliber of a player. Teams may not think so for whatever reason.
Listen, I never bashed Melo for doing what he did, right? With the Knicks, how he forced the trade. Melo had leverage. He knew that the Knicks were desperate to bring in a superstar, and he used his leverage, knowing that he can make whatever amount extra millions of dollars if it was a trade. The Knicks didn't have to do it. If you're going to blame somebody for that, it's not Melo, it's the Knicks. The Knicks, in my opinion, should have shown patience. They shouldn't have made that trade. They should have waited a year. And if Melo wanted to come here, he could have came via free agency. And if he wasn't going to come, then you keep the guys you got and you find somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Knicks made that mistake. That had nothing to do with Melo. I never blame an athlete for getting the money when they can, because an athlete's prime is so short. You're talking a 5, 6, 7 year window for you to make, your max dollars. Because when you come into the league in any sport, you don't get top dollar for the first 5 years, whether it be the NBA, the NFL, whatever it is. You get that 5 to 7 year window between ages like 26 and 32 to make as much as you possibly can. And I never blame athletes for doing that when they have the opportunity.
No, I agree with you. I never blame athletes either, man. You go ahead and, you get your money. Listen, to some people, being a champion is not as important as getting their money. It is what it is. That's their prerogative, in my opinion. Now, Juan Liger, hopefully I said your name correctly in my chat. He said Melo should chase with the Golden State Warriors. Should chase a ring with the Warriors, or now that Boogie is injured, maybe something with the Lakers. What do you think about that?
You know what? The Lakers, I like. I like that fit with the Lakers. They could use another guy with some punch off the bench. Mm-hmm. He's always been friendly with LeBron. There's always been rumors that they wanted to play together. Mm-hmm. I like that fit. Yeah. I like that fit in LA for Carmelo.
Yeah, that could be, that definitely could be. Definitely could be. We'll see. I'm hoping that something opens up for him. You know what? I wanted to ask you, have you been able to see, did you watch Frank Ntilikina play in any of the
I've seen some of the highlights. I saw that Knicks Fan TV posted some of the highlights. I think you posted some too on your page, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen the highlights. I haven't seen the actual games themselves.
Okay, so I mean, based on what you've known right now about his stats, what do you think? I got to see him play in the NBA. I got to see him do it at the NBA level before I still think Ntilikina could definitely improve, but I got to see it. He hasn't shown it to me yet at the NBA level. Offensively, defensively, he's good. But I got to see him perform at the NBA level for me to really buy into him as a real difference maker. Yeah, and I've watched him play in 2 games. He played decent defense. Now, of course, he's playing against guys who are from wherever they were from, Turkey, and wherever they were from. So he's playing against those guys, but he was playing decent defense. I tell you this, playing with them, and this kind of goes back to you when you're saying you need to see him playing the NBA. Playing with them, he looks comfortable. You can tell he looks comfortable. He knows where to be. He knows where to go. But what it also says to me, though, is that he's definitely a system guy. Because he's very comfortable because he knows the system and he knows exactly what they want and they're asking of him. And it just says to me that maybe there's still going to be some trouble when he does, play with this team. Now, I do think, though, that this is the perfect kind of a team for Frank to sit back and be able to develop and play. I agree with that. Without the pressure on him to be such a big time producer with the team.
There's no pressure on him this year because there's very little expectations. He's third on the depth chart at his position. Now he could definitely play some 2 and 3 as well. But I don't think he's going to get more than 15 minutes a game, at least to start the season. Yeah. So there's no pressure. I mean, he could only go up from here, in my opinion. So hopefully he does. Hopefully he proves a lot of people wrong and he plays good this year. I'm rooting for him. He's a Knick. Yeah. So, hopefully he plays great. But that was my problem. Going back to what you said about him being a system player, that was my problem with the pick to begin with. Because they drafted a guy to fit a system because they thought he'd fit the triangle offense very well, and then they got rid of the triangle offense the next day. I mean, I know Hornacek was there, whatever, but it was gone shortly thereafter, and so they drafted a guy for a system that it wasn't here. As soon as the guy basically became a Knick.
Yeah. You're right. We're going to see what happens. I mean, listen, I'm not going to lie. I did want Frank Ntilikina. I was enamored by his defense, and I
wasn't upset with the pick on draft night. I wasn't thrilled with it, but I wasn't upset with the pick. I'm still not upset with it. I mean, if you go back and look at that draft outside of Donovan Mitchell that went after Ntilikina, DSJ's on the Knicks. So who else,
right?
Off the top of my head, who else was a real impact player from that draft? Now, I'm not looking at the draft. Maybe there's one or two guys somebody in the chat is going to come up with. But to my recollection, there was no, really great player that got drafted after Ntilikina outside of Mitchell.
Right. And, we'll see. We'll see if he's able to, I don't know. We'll see this season how he's able to fit in with the team. And if he's able to find himself, carve out a niche. Now, the one thing I will say is this. I think a lot's going to depend on what happens with Damian Dotson, Wayne Ellington, and Alonzo Trier, how that works. One of those guys, or RJ Barrett, right? There's so many different ways you can do the lineup, but... And somebody brought this up before, and maybe it was City for Real. I don't know. Had brought up and said, well, what if they start Elfrid Payton and Dennis Smith Jr.? One of those guys would have to drastically improve their jump shot in order for both of those guys to start, in my opinion. Maybe it's Dennis Smith Jr. Both of those guys are working on it. I was reading an article about Elfrid Payton. And his father said that, each year he's improved his jump shots. Jump shots gotten better each year. Mm-hmm. If that happens, if Dennis Smith Jr., let's say Dennis Smith Jr. starts at the 2, Elfrid Payton is at the 1. Dennis Smith Jr. is about 6'5". So maybe I still feel like it might be kind of a small tandem, but maybe it could work. And let's just say he did start at the shooting guard spot. Then Frank Ntilikina would be the point guard coming off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't see. I think they're too deep at every position for them. We'll see. You're saying Payton at the 2?
No, Payton at the 1. Dennis Smith Jr. at the 2.
Oh, okay, Dennis Smith Jr. And then, I definitely think you'll see that in certain lineups
because
I don't think to start the game though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. Yeah. The argument for it would be that those two guys, Elfrid Payton he's a distributor. He's a pass first point guard. Mm-hmm. He's like a Ricky Rubio. That's kind of like Ricky Rubio and Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
They were last year.
No, that's a good point. That's a good example you bring up.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. And
Harden and Chris Paul. Obviously not near that level, but
right, exactly.
Two distributors in the backcourt.
So if it did happen, and then at the 3, let's say you had Marcus Morris. So this would mean RJ Barrett didn't start. Then at the 3, you had Marcus Morris. At the 4, you had Julius Randle. At the 5, let's just say Mitchell Robinson. And then coming off the bench, if you had Frank Ntilikina, and then RJ Barrett at the 2, Kevin Knox at the 3, Taj Gibson at the 4, or Taj Gibson and Bobby Portis at the 4 and the 5. Right. And then, but then of course you got to find, where does Alonzo Trier fit in? Damian Dotson, Wayne Ellington, Iggy, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, so if you look at that possibility as a starting lineup, and who knows what Coach Fizdale is going to do and how he's going to work these lineups. But then it would be possible that Frank Ntilikina does play a little bit more at that point guard spot off the bench. And of course, this is all just speculation. We don't know. We don't know. Speaking of Dennis Smith Jr., though, big shout out to Big Timer. Thank you for the super chat. He says, "What's up, Sim? Who do you think would make a bigger impact for our team if they take the next step forward? Dennis Smith Jr. or Kevin Knox?" He says, "I'll hang up and listen." That's a very good question. who would make the bigger? So assuming, I guess he's saying, assuming that both of them step up, who would make the bigger impact for the team? Assuming that both of them step up, I'm going to say Dennis Smith Jr.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
And so let's say that they both stepped up the same level. Dennis Smith Jr. would have a bigger impact to me because you got to have a guard that's going to be a threat, a big threat, a super threat. And Dennis Smith Jr., if he really does step up, he could be that guard that has that kind of a threat. And then if you have a guard that's a threat, that changes your game. If you don't have a guard that's going to be a threat, it's hard. It's hard to keep defenses honest and things like that. A threat through penetrating and also a threat from the outside. So if Dennis Smith Jr., and that's really the next evolution of his game, being able to, he's got a couple of things, in my opinion, with Dennis Smith Jr. Being able to shoot from the outside consistently, learning how to facilitate the offense just a little bit more. I don't want to put too much on him, but learning to be that facilitator, that leader, and then playing. He can play defense, but playing it consistently. That's the one thing that I think surprised me when he came to the Knicks is he plays a lot more defense than I thought.
Yeah, that's what everybody said. I mean, that his defense was a little bit better. His passing, I think, was a little bit better than I expected too. Now he doesn't do it enough, but I think he definitely has the ability to be a pretty good distributor. I like Dennis Smith Jr. I think he could be really good for this team. We'll see. But I agree with you. The NBA is a guard-driven league, and Kevin Knox I don't think is going to start this year. I think it's going to be Morris until they trade Morris at the deadline if the Knicks fall out of it. But yeah, I think Dennis Smith Jr. is more likely to have the bigger impact on this year's team. And Dennis Smith Jr. could be the X factor for this team. Like if this team surprises people, I think Dennis Smith Jr. is going to have to have a big improvement off of last year.
No,
like 19 points a game, pretty efficiently, something like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Dennis Smith Jr. is the guy. He is the guy, that really does need to step up. That we'll be looking forward to stepping up. Well, we'll see if he can. I'm not saying, I believe that he could probably step up.
Right.
If he's doing the right things, if he's doing what he's supposed to do, he can probably step up. But he's the guy that we'll be looking at to step up.
Yeah, I think obviously we want to see Knox step up. We want to see Mitch. Mitch is Mitch. Mitch is going to be good. He just got to, stay out of foul trouble. Maybe add a little bit to his offensive repertoire. Would like to see him be more than just a dunker this year, if possible. But I love Mitch. And Knox, we got to see a lot more efficiency out of. So that's what I'm looking at this year. RJ Barrett's his rookie year. Obviously I hope he plays great, but I'm going to kind of give him a pass this year if he does not play as well as we expect. Mm-hmm. But Knox, I think, has some pressure on him this year. I think he needs to take a step up, and I think DSJ does as well. Okay.
Yeah, and look, Knox is putting in the work. I would say that. Knox is putting in the work to step up. I think, his work ethic, there was a lot of concern about him, being the kind of guy that's willing to step back. He disappears in games and things like that. A lot of concern about him in that regard last year. But his work ethic is there. And I think, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but I think that part of Kevin Knox being the type of guy that is willing to step back is just his personality. And as he gets a little bit older, he gets a little bit more mature, he becomes one of the elder statesmen on the team, then he won't be one of those guys that takes a step back. He'll be one of those guys that takes a step forward and tries to take control of the team when it's necessary, if he develops to be that guy.
I like Knox. I think Knox is going to have a good year this year. I like Knox. I think he will play much better this year because of the surrounding talent and because it's his second year in the league and because, like you said, he's putting in the work.
Yeah.
I just think there's a little pressure on him this year. That's all. Being that he's coming off mediocre rookie season.
Right.
So, we're kind of expecting him to take a pretty big step up off of last year's results.
Yeah, I think he will. It's set up perfectly for him to do so. Even if he comes off the bench, which I think he might come off the bench behind Marcus Morris, at least to begin the season. I think it'll be good for him to come off the bench, in my opinion. I think it'll be really good for him to come off the bench. It would have been great for him to have someone like a Marcus Morris there last year to come off the bench behind him.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think the pressure it definitely takes some of the pressure off him this year, and it gives him a veteran guy to learn under. So I think it's a great move. All these guys they brought in, but specifically Marcus Morris, that was a great move. Getting him.
Right. Yeah, that's a great move. And look, Marcus Morris probably isn't going to be with the Knicks next season. He signed a 1-year contract for $15 million. He's going to be looking to cash in next year, next summer.
And he was smart, because when you look at next summer's free agency crop, it's thin.
Exactly. So he'll be, he may be coveted. I like some of the things that I'm hearing from RJ Barrett. I really like the comments that he made about when he said he doesn't need to show everybody his workouts and all that kind of stuff. He's like, I do what I do. You see it on the court. I like everything that I hear from RJ Barrett. Hopefully, it's going to display on the court. I think it will. I think, he'll get on the court and he's going to display those things on the court. I really like what I'm seeing and hearing from RJ Barrett. I would like to see some workout just to see, how he's developing and stuff like that. But, he's kind of, he gives me an old school feel. Even with the way he plays the game, he gives me an old school feel.
I love RJ Barrett. I think he's a throwback a little bit, like you said. I love him though. I think he's going to be a superstar. I really do. I think he's going to be a superstar. Needs to improve the jump shot, but I think he will. I think he's a hard worker. And I think he's going to be a top 10, 15 player in this league. I really do. I think the Knicks hit a home run there. Okay. And I think he could end up being the best player from this year's draft. I'm not saying this year, but long term.
Yeah, I hear you. Do you think this season, does he start?
Definitely at some point. I would start him. I would start him to start the year. Yeah, I would. He might not, but I would.
And for me, obviously everything is going to depend on how lineups look together and how they fit together. I would want to start him too.
Yeah.
I'd like to start him as well, probably at the shooting guard position. But I'd also want to look at the lineups to see how things work out, because whoever you have starting at that point guard spot, Elfrid Payton or Dennis Smith Jr., RJ Barrett doesn't shoot the three that well. You need one of those guys. One of your shooting guards, either your shooting guard or your point guard, needs to be able to knock down that three, in my opinion.
That's a fair point you bring up. That's a fair point. The question is, who do you start though in his place? Dotson? Ellington?
Ellington is a guy that could end up starting there, and maybe he starts and he still only gets 15 minutes a game. Who knows?
Right.
It's happened, right? Maybe he starts, only gets 15 minutes a game. You remember back a few years back when we had Iman Shumpert and we had J.R. Smith. Iman Shumpert was starting and J.R. Smith was coming off the bench, although J.R. Smith was the better scorer, averaging, whatever he was averaging per game.
Oh, he was always complaining about not starting. Remember that, J.R. Smith? But yeah, he was perfect for that role, J.R. Smith.
Yeah, so, I wouldn't put it.
But the thing is, RJ Barrett's not that type of player, though. He's not that. I don't view him as like an instant offense guy off the bench.
Right. I don't view him as an instant offense guy off the bench either. But I think, if let's just say it was Dennis Smith Jr. who was starting. Then you had a Wayne Ellington. I mean, that's a nice duo to be able to penetrate and kick to a guy that can really knock down the three. And Dwayne Ellington can play some defense. I'm not saying that RJ Barrett can't play defense, but he can play some defense. He's a veteran. Then you have a Marcus Morris, Julius Randle,
Bobby Portis, Mitchell Robinson,
whoever, starting at that 5 spot. And then I think then, when you're looking at the bench, even though RJ Barrett isn't an instant scorer, the bench itself would be young and electric. It would be either Dennis Smith Jr. or Elfrid Payton, RJ Barrett, Kevin Knox. Maybe if Mitchell Robinson was coming off the bench, Mitchell Robinson. So then you'd be coming in with a young, youthful lineup that as a whole would be an energy boosting lineup, So I guess it's going to depend on, what is.
A lot of it's going to be ebb and flow. It's going to be feeling it out and seeing how these guys play with one another, and that's how the lineups are going to get set. But if I was, opening night, if I had to guess, and a lot of it's going to be based on opponent, we always say that. Mm-hmm. But opening night, I think DSJ will be the point. I think Barrett will be the 2. I think Morris will be the 3. I think Knox will be on the bench, I think. Randall in the 4, and I'll say Portis because they'll need that 3-point presence. Nah, they've been saying Portis is going to come off the bench.
Yeah, I think
so. I'll say Mitch starts at the 5.
Yeah.
Portis will be the 6th man.
Yeah, I think they kind of put it in. It feels like, at least from what Bobby Portis has said, it feels like they kind of etched that in stone. It's not something that I agree with. I think that you should have to get into training camp and see what the lineups look like and feel it out. I mean, I feel like if Coach Fizdale promised anyone that he was going to be the starter, I would, at this point, because this is such a brand new team, really, I would think it would be wrong. I think you would say, hey, we're rolling the balls out, except for maybe Julius Randle, right?
Oh, Julius Randle's an established. Yeah. He's the only guy that should be given a starting position. I agree with that.
Right. given because he's going to get it. But everyone else, I think, should kind of be up in the air, and they should have to battle it out. Look, I know maybe penciled in as Dennis Smith Jr. I am not going to put it past Elfrid Payton. From a lot of stuff that I'm, just looking back and doing some research, and, those first few games when he was with the Pelicans, they were looking like, maybe looking like they could do something. Then, of course, he got hurt, and he was hurt throughout the season. I think he's coming to New York to prove something. It's one of the reasons that he had other deals on the table worth more money, I think. And he decided that he wanted to come to New York because of the playing time and the ability to maybe, establish himself as, a starting point guard, full-time starting point guard in the league. I think he's coming for it.
Listen, man, I've been saying since they signed him, I think I would start him. I think DSJ will get it, if I had to guess, but I like Elfrid Payton. I think DSJ is going to get minutes regardless whether he comes off the bench or not.
Yeah.
But I like that orchestrator in my starting lineup to start the game. So
yeah, I love that.
Regardless, he's going to get his minutes. It doesn't matter. He's going to get 25 minutes no matter what. I think Elfrid Payton. But I would not be opposed at all to starting him at the point guard position.
Yeah, and listen, I'm gonna tell you, to his benefit is the fact that he played with Julius Randle last season. That's going to be to his benefit.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a little bit of chemistry going on. You don't have and that's going to be a natural chemistry that they've developed over 1 year. This is going to be the second year, or over 40, 50 games, whatever Elfrid Payton played, and then this is going to be the next year. So, there's a lot of different components that we're going to have to consider.
Yeah, and it's going to be, we're going to find out as the season goes along how these guys play with each other. It's just at this point, everything's just speculation. And I just want to say hello to Delano's in the chat, MH in the chat. Thank you guys for popping in. I guess we can take some calls. Do we got the phone line tonight, Tim?
Yeah, let's do that, man. Let's take some calls, ladies and gentlemen. You guys can call in 516-405-2246. You can go ahead and call in.
I wonder if we'll get Bobby Woodruff tonight. He's always the first caller. Remember him last week? 2 weeks ago, he called us a galoop.
Yeah, he's called my show a couple of times and talked for a little bit. Good guy, man. He's a real good guy. He called the show, talked a little bit about, I don't even remember, whatever we were talking about. But if you want to call in, join in on the conversation, call us 516-405-2246. And I know there's a few people that were trying to jump into the appearing. Unfortunately, we're not really going to be doing the appearing tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Unless you wanted to do the appearing.
If you want to bring a couple guys in, I'm fine with that.
If you want to do the appearing, then we could make that happen. There's a couple guys that I know want to join in.
Yeah, for sure. Bring them in.
Let's see who we got in here. Let's see. Let's get to this phone call. While we're getting to this phone call, I'll try to jump in with the appearing. All right. Caller, you are on live.
What's going on, Sim?
Chris Sim, what's popping with you?
Another dollar, you know what I mean? Wanted to say salute to everybody in the chat, salute to you and Chris, the Entertainah. Just quick question. I wanted to know your opinion on the point guard situation. Do you think that our long-term wise, is it more of a situation where we need to put ourselves in a position to maybe develop something like Dennis Smith Jr. or move forward with the idea from?
One second. Trying to. Somebody has this sound. Okay, never mind. I don't know if that's gonna work, Chris.
Oh, they had the sound on. They got to turn the TV off. I think that's what the problem is.
Yeah, something was going on in the background. But what as far as what you're saying about the point guard situation, we were just talking about the point guard situation. And,
okay, well, I just came outside. I laid my road, came on break. I seen that, your notification popped up, so immediately wanted to jump out and just catch the show real quick.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, man, it's very hard to say what what's going to be of this point guard situation. There's going to be a lot of, it's going to be a lot of competition. Let's say that. A lot of competition for that point guard spot. You got Alfred Payton. Yeah. I think Alfred Payton is going to come in and really try to fight for that point guard spot. You also got, Dennis Smith Jr. He's improving his game, and then Frank Ntilikina. Hopefully, Frank Ntilikina comes in and has a point to prove. You know what I'm saying? If Frank, right. That's the hope, that Frank Ntilikina feels like he has a point to prove and is not, and he doesn't want to just be cool and happy with playing the background. You know what I'm saying? So, the hope is that Frank Ntilikina will come in with a point to prove. I think for the most part, you're going to be looking between Dennis Smith Jr. and Alfred Payton. I think that's who you're going to be looking at right now, at least.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Another thing I want to ask too. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Dana. Go ahead.
No, that's good, man. That's good, man. What's up, Donald? By the way, great subscriber, both of ours. No, I completely agree with what Sim said. I think it's a two-man race. I don't view Ntilikina as a competitor for the starting point guard position at all at this point. But if it was me, I would start Payton. But I think DSJ is going to get the start opening night. But either way, I see both those guys getting between 25 and 30 minutes. And, what's great about those two, they both, they're both, I think DSJ is much more of a guy that's going to go after it, like a Russell Westbrook, where Peyton's kind of that, that traditional point guard, the distributor. So I could see them playing on the floor at the same time a lot. So they could do that as well. I would start Peyton, but I think DSJ is going to get the start opening night.
And I think that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Especially if you're looking at the dynamic of who's going to be on the floor with them. Because my biggest thing right now is the direction. Do we want to establish the veterans, like, for instance, a small forward situation right now? I don't think it should be a situation. I think Knox should definitely start because he's the long-term, situation. He's a long-term guy. You're the guy that you're positioning to look at to help with the franchise as far as rebuilding it. But I hear a lot of the Morris situation, and Morris could potentially start. And I wouldn't want that personally. because, like I said, I just feel like at the end of the day, I'm looking at between Kevin Knox and Ignas Brazdeikis, you have your starter, you have your backup. Me bringing Morris in, honestly, was just, you're doing too much of the same positioning, and the competition I don't think is necessary in this regard, because I feel like, again, you have your guy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have your guy. You've already established that Kevin Knox from last season was going to be part of the situation going forward. It's on him whether he wants to be a part of it or not, but they've already ingrained themselves in, invested in Kevin Knox. So bringing in Morris, really, I don't see where that makes sense, especially when, like I said before, in a lot of other chats, we don't have a legitimate center, whether you want to start Mitch or have somebody back him up. Because I feel like once you get to the point of having the Joel Embiids and the Brook Lopez's and the Robin Lopez's and, guys of that nature, you got those guys. Mitch, whether he gets in foul trouble or just needs, a good 5 to 10 minute breather, these guys are going to get cooked. It's going to be barbecue chicken alert for, Portis and Randall and all that stuff. So I'm worried about the fact that we don't have anybody, like I said, either to back up Mitch if you want to start him, or to start somebody in front of Mitch and have Mitch come off the bench and continue to develop that way. So right now, that's one of my biggest concerns as far as our roster right now.
Yeah, and see, me, I feel like Mitch needs a little bit more time coming off the bench. That's my opinion. I know there's a lot of people that disagree with me, and like you said, he's the only pure center on the team and da-da-da. But you know what? A lot of teams go small today. You know what I mean? And are not afraid to play centers that are 6'10", 6'9", 6'10", and can go off the dribble, which is not going to benefit Mitch. You've seen it. If you go back, I did a video where, I did some highlights of Mitch playing, and he got matched up with Kyle Kuzma because Team USA went small. And he was abusing. Kyle Kuzma was abusing Mitch. I don't care what anyone says. He was abusing him, right? He went to the basket, bumped him. Mitch fell because, Mitch he's a young kid. He's got to get stronger. He throw a pump fake. Mitch is in the air. Either dribble past him and kick, or he threw a pump fake. Mitch got in the air. He passed it. Then he cut. Then the guy hit Kyle Kuzma with the cut and he laid it in. A lot of teams are going to go small that way. And, how many centers are, pounded out centers, right? So I know a lot of people say, well, they'll say, well, that benefits Mitch. But that also benefits a team like us that doesn't have a pure center, because if they're not a pounded out type of center, right, and they'll take it outside, you got Joel Embiid. Maybe there's maybe Jokic or somebody who can score in the post. These other guys don't score in the post that much. They take
because you still got like Gasol. Most of those guys are in the Western Conference, which is a benefit to us in that regard. Because if you look at, as far as Gasol's the only one that's still in the East, but you still got right now Whiteside, who got traded to Portland, but Nurkic will come back, and that's already two guys that play the post. I'm looking at even our rivals across the river. We got both Jared Allen and DeAndre Jordan, who are inside guys. So there's no floor spacing involved for them, which means that that's where they do their work. That's where they do the most damage, going inside. Embiid, of course, Karl Anthony Towns, who should be playing in the post, who showed that, again, like last season, if you play him in the post, he can be more effective in that regard. He can, up his game. Whether he stays in the post, again, that's one of them situations where, you look at the system and you look at the player's mentality. But you're right. There's not a lot of true centers in the league, but again, I worry about that interior defense. I'd hate for it to be where we're collapsing so much of that on Mitch that it ends up putting him in a position where, again, he gets in foul trouble because he is the anchor of that interior defense, and we have nobody else.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you because. This is my whole thing. The reason why I would bring Mitch off the bench, because even when you do find some guys that can pound it down low, Mitch is still not that big, strong guy that's going to be able to, really handle that type of abuse without getting into foul trouble.
I completely agree with that. So that's exactly what I was going to say. I don't think he has the body yet to be a guy that could play 30 minutes at that position and not get in foul trouble. That's what I worry about with Mitch. And that's why I'd be completely fine with him coming off the bench. He's shown it throughout his career so far, be it that it's only 1 year. But that's what I worry about with him. I worry about him getting in foul trouble. As far as what Delano said earlier about Morris, I kind of disagree with that. I'm completely fine with Morris here. I get what he's saying, that it may cut into Knox's development, but I think he's a good guy to have on this team. I think he's a good mentor. I think he's a guy that this team could use very well because he could play both the 3 and 4. He's a very good defensive player as well as offensive player. I like him. I like him a lot, actually, Morris.
Yeah.
And he could stretch the floor.
No, don't get me wrong. I like him as an individual talent. And if we didn't have all those guys, I mean, we got like 4 power forwards now, and where was all that last year? You know what I mean? When we was actually in need of power forwards, we only had Vonleh at that point, and we could have used Morris. We could have used Julius Randle or Bobby Portis Jr. on our roster last year. And I feel like, and I've been saying even from the beginning, I liked J. Michael Green in a trade last season, or Bobby Portis Jr. in a trade if it was going to give up like Courtney Lee's contract or Hardaway Jr.'s contract. It didn't pan out, of course, and we got stuck with guys like Hazonia, who ended up having to play that position, Lance Thomas, who had to play that position, and their true position being small forwards. They were getting cooked. They were getting abused, and it might be 1 or 2 games where they actually won the matchup off their opponents. And, I just don't want it to be where that's the trend going forward, where, we're looking at, okay, right now we need a center, but we'll make it work with these guys, and then they're getting cooked, and that's what costs us games. And it can lead to, development issues. It could also lead to, locker room issues because, some guys might be like, I don't want to keep losing like this. Where's your energy at? And it becomes an internal struggle between maybe 1 or 2 people to 3 or 4 people, Right. Like I said, that's why, like I said, for me, I like to go position, towards every position, at least have a true position guy. And I can intertwine like somebody like I said, like Portis or something like that. I could throw him at the center spot, but look at what he's been doing for Al Horford for years. And I've always said, just because I can play a certain position, if that's not my true position, don't leave me at that position, because then you'll eventually expose you'll play your hand, and you'll also risk that person not being as effective when you need him to be. Because of the fact that, okay, if I'm giving up height or I'm giving up weight, the only thing I really can do is maybe foul this guy. And if you need me long term down the line, in the crunch minutes and stuff like that, crunch time comes, I'm sitting on the bench because I'm in foul trouble, or I might have fouled out the game, or I'm risking an injury because I really can't compete with this guy to hold him down. So, like I said, those are my concerns right now. But, I mean, I have all the faith in the world that, we can do it. I just, again, as any fan, you see a hole in the roster, you start to kind of question whether or not, that's going to be one of those things that make or break our season going forward.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. Fizdale's got his work cut out for him, so he's definitely got his work cut out for him this year. But
yeah,
Yeah. Hey,
That's what we always talk about, the balance of the roster. That's going to be Fizdale's biggest challenge this year.
Yeah,
the distribution of the minutes.
Yeah, without a doubt. Hey, Delano, man, thank you for the call, man. We appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, I appreciate your show, your content, man. Huge fan and always supporting. So, shout out to you, shout out to Entertainah, salute to everybody in the chat. Yeah, everybody have a good night.
All right, man. You too. Peace.
You too, Delano. Delano's awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it. And you guys see, we do have some guys in the video chat.
Oh, yeah.
We got a couple guys in the video chat. On your end, well, you know how to work it. If you mute those guys out, you know what I'm saying, you won't hear them in the background because I'm pretty sure they're, talking.
Yeah, I hear them. They're talking Knicks in the background. They're having fun. They're having fun.
Yeah, I'm going to get these guys up, man, so we can, talk to some of these guys. I know they got something to say. You know what I mean? So, get these guys up and say what's up to them and let them talk a little bit. Let's see. Let's start off with Mark because I haven't seen or heard from Mark.
Wow, you're gonna start off with Mark, huh? Mark's usually like Mark, the grand finale.
Yeah, I'm gonna start off with Mark because I know. Listen, I know Mark seen a picture of Kristaps Porzingis looking all buffed and everything, and I know you got something you want to say about it. Hey, Mark, what's going on, man?
Yo, the funny thing, you said it right on I was coming in hot with that. You see, wait, hold on. He looked like Gordon Hay. He looked like he had the Gordon Hayward workout. Y'all remember when Gordon Hayward just blew up out of nowhere? That's what he looked like.
KP looked big. He looked big. I was like, wow.
That's what hard work looks like. That's what a worker looks like. That's what a worker looks like, okay?
All right. Look, Mark. Look, hey, Chris. Mark is happy about that. I'm telling you right now.
I'll tell you. I talk to Mark a lot. I know I love Porzingis too. I'm not gonna be rooting for him now that he's not a Knick though. I'm not rooting against him, but
he was my favorite player. I just can't go from hating him. I'm
not gonna hate him, but
yeah, nobody's gonna hate him.
Yeah, Mark loves Porzingis, man.
Yeah, man, that's Mark's man crush. That's his man crush.
I just thought he had the moxie. I just like the swag. The kid could play. The kid is smart. He just had to carry a whole bunch of bums like Lance Thomas and Tim Hardaway. It's not his fault. My bad. But it is what it is.
Yeah, well, we see.
It is what it is.
We'll see. Listen, I'm not mad at KP where I dislike him and da-da-da-da-da. I hope he does well. I hope he comes back and he's strong.
Sam, I'll tell you this, man.
Hope he comes back and he's strong and he has a good season.
It would be better for you to just be honest with your takes when it comes to KP. It would just make me feel better. Probably make the chat feel better. Come out with your real thoughts. Come out with your real thoughts. I would respect that more than anything.
Since the beginning, I have come out with my real thoughts about KP. That's why everybody called me a KP hater. I've always had my real thoughts about KP.
I'm going to defend Sim here, Mark. He went above and beyond. The first time I tuned into Sim's channel, he was saying Kevin Knox was going to be better than KP.
He said he could score on all three levels better than KP. I still
Sim is has definitely shown what he thinks of KP from the start.
Listen, I'm still not backing down on that. I still think he has a better repertoire than KP. We'll see what KP does this year. But when KP went out, when he went out 18 months ago, he was basically shoot the three. Okay. Maybe he catch a. He
had a post game.
Down the lane.
He had a post game. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. His post game is not bruising, but he had a turnaround jump shot.
He had a post game against a couple other skinny guys. If you got somebody that was real strong, like Marcus Smart, he push him right out the post.
Marketing is known.
But look, it doesn't look like he'll be able to do that now from that picture that I seen. Though I tell you that.
No, he's gonna be all right. That's muscle. That's lean muscle. He's gonna be able to move.
I mean,
that ain't fat. That's muscle where he's gonna be able to move and take the bruises.
Well, hopefully, but he needs. Listen, he needs that in order for him to be able to withstand the way that he can move. He's gotta be big because he's 7'3". Like this is one of the reasons why Phil Jackson was interested in marketing, right? It's because marketing has the same skill set, but he's a little bit shorter. So because his body is a little more proportioned, right? You may have to worry about injuries.
That's cool because he has injuries already early in his career. So we can stop talking about.
I'll say this about KP. I like KP, but for KP to last long term, he's going to have to refine his game. He can't play. He can't play with reckless abandon like he did. He's a walking injury.
I think he's going to change that. But now I want to talk about this Mitch thing because right now I feel like you have an agenda also with Mitch. That's what we was talking about in the chat.
You
talking about we was talking about.
Tell me what my agenda is
him not starting. RJ shouldn't start then. What did he prove? Prove? RJ shouldn't start.
Hold up. See, this has been my whole thing ever. All I said is that he's got to earn his spot. And I said the reasons why.
Show you why he didn't earn the spot at center. There's no one else that can play defense better than on his team. Seriously.
Listen. I have just because I don't agree with you or because I don't agree with
it's the right thing to do.
Hold up. Or because I don't agree with what everybody else agree with doesn't mean I have an agenda against Mitch. I want to see the kid develop and be the best player that he could be. I am a New York Knicks fan. Why would I want him to not be good? I like Mitchell Robinson. I am a fan of Mitchell Robinson's. But because I have an opinion that disagrees with you, I have an agenda against him? Come on, man.
Well, listen. I didn't want to get all deep into that. I'm just saying that the kid needs to start in minutes so he can get rid of those bad habits. Once he gets little minutes...
Does it matter though, Mark?
No,
if he starts or comes off the bench?
It does. It's a different confidence level because if he plays off the bench, right? He's gonna have the reckless abandonment to cause foul because he knows he's gonna go right back to the bench. Now, when he's starting in the beginning of the games, he's gonna learn the game a little more faster than what he has to do in the beginning of the game to impact the game from the beginning to the end. So if he gets to play 5 minutes at the beginning of the first quarter, it's good for his development. It's just good for his development.
Or when he gets into the game and he knows he's not starting because he's constantly fouling. If that's the case, maybe he learns not to foul so he can become a starter if it's that important to him. It could work either way.
You cannot keep a kid with that type of motor there's no way Bobby Portis is starting over there. There is no way a coach that would see Mitchell Robinson and Bobby Portis and say Bobby Portis is going to start over Mitch with that type of motor and that defensive prowess.
I think
he can guard the perimeter.
I think he's going to start.
I mean, he might start. I don't think it's going to be because they're looking just say, oh, he just has all this great. He's this already. I mean,
we're not looking for Mitch to play 30 minutes, but I'm looking for him to start the game.
I don't. So
it can set the defense correctly. Because remember, last year they said that he was a leader when it came to that.
Okay.
We all forgot about that.
I know, but he's not. But he's not going to be.
It's good for the kid's development.
I mean, that's cool. He was a leader when it came to that because we had no leaders on the team. But this year it's a little bit different. You got Marcus Morris. You got Taj Gibson. You got guys that's been there and knows how to be a leader.
Yeah, but Taj is not a starter anymore. He's 34 years old, bro.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking. The leaders don't have to be starters.
But I'm just saying, you saying that like those guys should because they're veterans that they're gonna start.
What I'm saying is, Mitchell Robinson was that kind of a leader last year. It may be a little bit. You have a totally different team this year. Totally different players. We had no veterans the caliber of Taj Gibson, the caliber of Marcus Morris, who can not only be a leader in the locker room, but can also play and is going to give you some productive minutes on the floor and be a leader on the floor. That's going to be able to sit in the huddle, and really be able to help be a coach.
Hold on.
As well as on the floor.
For him to come in his first year and command people on defense, that already showed me enough. For him to come to do that means that players have respect for him when it comes to what he does best as of right now.
Right. But how many players from that team is going to be on this team?
Probably like one, I think. Is it one?
How many players from last year? Knox, Dennis Smith Jr., Frank Ntilikina, Alonzo Trier, Damian Dotson.
Okay.
Right? Frank Ntilikina, Damian Dotson, Alonzo Trier, their minutes might be limited. So now you're talking about Kevin Knox and you're talking about Dennis Smith Jr. So you're talking about a total different group that's going to be playing on the floor than what was on the floor last year. So, yeah, he came in with a group, and maybe he was a vocal leader in the second half of the season. Right? He was a vocal leader when DeAndre Jordan came in and helped him out and blah, 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 blah. Right? But now
he got invited to the Olympics practice team. Okay. That already tells you enough. There's
a lot of players that happens to.
No. It's selective few, bro. For him in his first year to arrive in there for that? Cool. No. That don't happen. Listen, rookies don't know.
That's great. Listen, that's beautiful. That is a beautiful thing.
You don't rupture that. You start that kid and let him fail at the start.
Mark,
put him to the bench.
I think he's going to start, but I don't think it matters. If he gets 25, 30 minutes, I can care less if he comes off the bench or not. Why does it matter? Why does it matter?
Because it matters from a chemistry standpoint with your starters. Okay, he's gonna end games, right? He's gonna end games just because of his defensive powers. He can guard 1 through 5.
We'll see. You know what?
1 through 5.
We'll see.
I think he's going to start. I want him to start, but I don't think it matters. At the end of the day, if he gets his 25, 30 minutes, I could care less.
It matters. It's like if you bench Stephen Curry, would you think Stephen Curry would be?
But Stephen, you're comparing Mitch Robinson to Steph Curry?
I mean, come on, man.
No, but I'm saying, but when he came out, no one believed in Stephen Curry. No one had him as this high. So I'm putting it like that. They had no expectations for Stephen Curry to be as a great NBA player at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
Listen, man, I hope they start Mitch. If they start Portis instead, I wouldn't. It is what it is. But
it does matter, man.
He's their best rim protector. I'll say that. So I want him on the floor. But by the same token, if we're worried about foul trouble with Mitchell Robinson. Does it kind of make sense for him to be able to sit out the first 5, 6, 7 minutes and be able to come in with no pressure? He could play aggressive on the defensive end.
No. You want that pressure on him because you want him to develop into a player that I see, that Sim see, that you see. You want him to come into in his career. I want him to become an all-star. I think he has all-star
He's going to be.
potential.
He's going to be an all-star.
So if you see a player of that progression, his progression is nuts. For him to play 20 minutes, to have the type of impact defensively, that's something you don't sniff at, bro. Okay. You don't sniff at that. You don't play with that. You throw him in the fire. Like I said from last season, you throw that kid in the fire. People say, no, Mark, you shouldn't throw him in the fire. He's not ready yet. You throw him in the fire because his motor tells you to throw him in the fire.
Yeah, it's...
Nah, bro, you don't mess with talent like that.
Okay.
You don't mess with talent like that. You give him that for a confidence standpoint. That's going to raise his confidence. And of course, the veterans going to have respect for him because they're going to see what he does in the gym.
He's at the end of the day, he's going to start. I mean, they said Portis is coming off the bench without saying it. So Mitch is going to start.
Portis is an NBA rotational player. He's not starting nowhere else. He only starts for Washington.
I like Portis.
Yeah, but he's not changing your life to be a starter in the league because he can't defend. And we have to teach these guys how to defend now. We have to teach these guys how to defend, man. Knox can't defend. Mitch is the only one that I feel that can defend at an NBA level right now.
I agree with that.
He has good awareness, man.
All right. Well, let's, we'll look at some, we'll talk to some other people. But by the way, Chris, Kobe Bryant came off the bench his first 2 years in the league. Didn't stop him from being a Hall of Famer and winning 5 NBA championships.
It's a good point you bring up there, Sam. I still remember when Kobe got elected to the All-Star team his rookie year when he was averaging like 7 points a game.
Yeah. I mean, Kobe.
Are they on mute right now with the chat, or am I the only one that can hear him?
Yeah, Mark's. I muted Mark, so right now they can only hear me and you.
Oh, okay. No, because they always have interesting takes. I mean, look, I have nothing against Mitchell Robinson at all. I mean, it is the opposite. It's the total opposite. I have nothing against the kid at all. I just don't know if he's ready to be a full-time starting center in the NBA. That's just my opinion. I get that. I mean, but at the same time, I kind of get where Mark's coming from because you have to give him an opportunity to show it whether or not he can be that starting center.
Yeah.
And it's not like the Knicks have a guy that is a proven starting center in the NBA.
No, and that's true. You know what I mean? They don't have a guy that's a proven starting center, but the way the NBA is played now, you may not even need a 7-foot guy down there with the way the NBA is played a lot of times now. My thing is, you give every player that chance to earn it. It seems like they've given it to him straight off the bat, and I don't know if he's earned the right to be, like Julius Randle, we said. He's earned the right to be considered a bona fide starter no matter where he goes, basically.
Oh, of course,
right?
Yeah.
I don't know if Mitch Robinson has earned it yet to just say, oh, yep, Bobby Portis, if you come to this team, you're coming off the bench because Mitch is our straight up and down, boom, boom, boom center. I think you got to let a guy, I think a guy has to earn that position, and I want him to earn that position.
I'm not going to be upset either way, whether he comes off the bench or starts. I don't personally think it makes much of a difference. As long as he's getting his 25, 30 minutes, that's all I care about.
I agree.
That's all I care about. And as long as he's out there at the end of the game, because we're going to need his shot blocking ability. We always say it all the time. It's more about who finishes than who starts.
Yeah. And listen, the thing with him at the end of the game too is going to be whether or not he can. A lot's going to have to do with matchups. If a team goes small, like the way Team USA went small when he was matched up against Kyle Kuzma, he's not going to be out there at the end of the game because he'll hurt us more than he'll help us. You know what I'm saying? Because Kyle Kuzma was eating him alive. This was Kyle Kuzma. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and Kyle Kuzma is a good player, but Kyle Kuzma was eating him. He was eating him up in those, in those 2 minutes or however long it was. And if an NBA team decides, well, we're gonna put a 6'9" guy at center that can handle the basketball, that might be some trouble for Mitch. So a lot's gonna depend on the way matchups are going. How he's defending that day. Is he in foul trouble? And those type of things. I mean, if he's having a night where he's getting 2 blocks every quarter, you better believe he's going to be out there on the floor. It'd be stupid for him not to be.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. By the way, somebody in my chat wants to see if they can join the video chat.
Yeah, appear.n/NBK. Let's see who this is right here trying to get in. This is not exactly sure. We got a couple people joining in here, so let's get these guys muted. We got Isaiah
White chocolate
in the chat.
What's going on, Isaiah? How you doing, buddy? Luan's in the house.
Yeah, here we go. Nice. This is what I'm talking about. Nice chat built up here. Let's get to a phone call. Then I guess we'll get back to these guys that's in the chat. Let's grab a phone call real quick. Caller, caller.
Let me just mute these guys real quick. But we're gonna get Guillermo next though.
Yeah. Caller,
okay, I'm here.
What's going on, man? I'm sorry, not just nothing. It's nothing but Knicks and the Entertainah, man. Sorry about that. But what's going on with you?
Hey, what's up? Listen, just a big shout out to everybody in the chat. Saying what's up to nothing but Knicks and Entertainah Talking Sports, the ebony and ivory of sports radio on YouTube here.
That's what
what's going on.
I love this guy, Steven Evans, bends the knees. What's going on, buddy?
Bends the knees. What's going on? Listen, a couple of things, man. One, as it relates to Melo, listen, I'm not even quite sure. In all due respect and deference to the great Carmelo, man, but when it comes to talking about him and putting him on a potential all-time Knicks list, I'm kind of like not so much, right? People like Charles Smith, Derek Harper and Larry Johnson would be on that list before Melo. Nothing to say of the obvious people like Oak and Pat and Starks and Houston and whatnot. So,
I got to disagree with you there. Charles Smith's one of my least favorite Knicks of all time.
But I'm going to tell you, my point about that is, right, to me, there's something about having those players that you can look back on and be able to say that, good or for bad, we went through wars with these people. That's why I would even put someone like Chris Childs on that list before Melo. I can't tell you one war, one series that we can actually point to and say, you know what, that was a a benchmark moment for Carmelo Anthony in the New York Knicks uniform. The only thing that you could really point to is that 60-something point game in the Garden. I'll never take that away from him. But as it relates to going through the trenches with our team and fighting for something that means something over a period of years, that, I'm sorry, is not Carmelo.
No, of course. I agree with you there. And that's the reason why I was having, a little bit of issues with Charles Oakley. I wasn't sure where to go. But, I can't agree with you with Charles Smith, though.
Yeah, right. Charles Smith, to me, is one of the biggest busts. I couldn't stand Charles Smith. But I kind of get where you're going with. But Melo did have some really good individual performances in the playoffs. I remember even that year, right. I think it was the year where the first year that maybe they made the playoffs, Melo put up like 55 points in a loss. He put up a lot of points in a loss. I remember watching that game.
And listen, but, me talking about Charles Smith and trolling people with names like Rick Brunson and John Wallace is more of an exaggeration for effect.
You forgot to mention Chris Dudley.
Carmelo
where's Chris Dudley on your list? Where's Chris Dudley?
First of all, listen, don't play with me, Chris, because Chris Dudley is my guy. Unfortunately, I'm so beaten down and abused as a Knicks fan. He is literally on my short list of favorite Knicks of all time, and I'm unapologetic about that. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. Listen, moving on though. For me, I've said in a couple of places, I'm not quite sure if your channel was one of them, but in my humble opinion, I feel like a really good landing spot for Carmelo would be the Milwaukee Bucks for a lot of different reasons.
Okay. All right.
It makes sense. A win-now team, a guy that could come off the bench. There's a lot of teams that make sense for Melo if he's coming off the bench. Right. Milwaukee's certainly one of them.
Right. And also, too, listen, talking about the development of some of our young players, which is just a preoccupier for me, is something that I'm very hungry for, as I know all Knicks fans are, right? Fizdale can quickly find himself out of a job and back on some white sandy beach with his bombshell girlfriend if he does not find a way to get the players who need development time on the court said time. And for me, I kind of feel the type of way about bringing in people like Alfred Payton and having people allude to the fact that maybe he'll take up more playing time than what I would like for him to have. For me, I want people like Mitchell Robinson and DSJ in particular out there without a quick hook, right? And without anybody breathing over their neck and looking over their shoulder, so they can go out there and make these mistakes and we can see what we do or what we don't have in these players. And listen, as it relates to Mitchell Robinson, right? If he is going to be, as we hope he projects to be, and that is a eventual defensive player of the year, or at least somebody who year in and year out is in the running for such an award, right? He's going to have to be out there and figure out ways to defend a 6'9", 6'8", small 5, small 4 in crunch time when those minutes matter. So even though Kyle Kuzma ate his lunch the other day, he's got to find a way to be able to defend when that situation presents itself during the season.
I'll tell you, great points you bring up. Absolutely fantastic points you bring up. And I completely get what you're saying. And that's what we've been saying every time we do the show. That's going to be Fizdale's biggest challenge, is balancing the minutes between these veterans and rookies. The one thing I'll say about Payton is I think he could help some of the other younger guys, because I think he's the type of point guard who could get the ball to Knox in an open spot more so than a DSJ would, because he's a distributor. So I think having Payton on the floor could in turn help some of these younger players more so than it would if DSJ was on the floor. I definitely want DSJ to get minutes. I like DSJ. I think they both need to get minutes, and I think both will. I think both of them are going to get 25 plus minutes. But I think Payton is going to help Barrett get the ball in an open spot more so than a DSJ would, or Kevin Knox, or whoever. So I think that's the value Payton brings.
And I also think some of these guys are young enough too, like an Alfred Payton. What is he, 25 years old?
Yeah, he's still young.
Something like it, yeah.
He's still a puppy.
Right, 25 years old. One of the guys that we consider young for our team, Damian Dotson, is like 25 years old. Right. So, I think he's a guy that could one day, could maybe have a long-term future on this team if he proves himself. I think, in my opinion, one, you're right. I think you got to see the guys play on the floor for them to develop. And I think, our main guys, Knox, Dennis Smith Jr., Mitchell Robinson, whether or not they're starting or coming off the bench, I think they're all still going to get their 25 to 30 minutes a game. I think they're still going to get those minutes, but I think it's good to have the competition, because I think that forces them and pushes them and makes them get better. One of the things that's really that's not good, in my opinion, is when you have a young player, like let's just say Dennis Smith Jr., right? And I'm pointing to him for reasons, right? You have a Dennis Smith Jr., and there's not really anybody that can compete with Dennis Smith Jr., but he has a ways to go to develop. But you can't really take him off the floor and put somebody in that's going to be able to produce at his level. I think that could be a problem for someone. I think that could be a problem for a young player. I think you got to have that.
I know what you're getting at. Yeah, I definitely know what you're getting at, and I agree. Respectfully, the distinction I would make is competition as it relates to starter versus backup, in my opinion, is a little different in basketball than it is football. I mean, take the Eli Manning example right now. Eli, by all reports, right, is having one of the best, if not the best, training camp that he's had in his whole career. And a lot of that can be attributed, should you choose to do so, to the competition and all the noise and the buzz as it relates to Daniel Jones. Mm-hmm. Now, when you're talking about DSJ and Alfred Payton, respectively, like, I'm not quite sure that kind of competition translates the same way it does with football. And my thing, too, is I remember when I called into the show a little while ago, and I was talking about some of the free agents that we picked up, Portis, Morris, and a couple of other stretches and whatnot. For me, in my mind, obviously this hasn't been confirmed or verified, but I feel like these are literally first half season pickups that, depending on what the conference is looking like and what our record is within the conference, we will flip some of these potential championship pieces to other teams for either cash, picks, considerations, whatever. So if we can reasonably assume that a lot of the players that we have signed to stretch the floor, to be a veteran presence, to do some mentoring, will mess around and not even be here during the second half of the season, then I wouldn't waste any of our young talent's time by taking minutes away from them from get-go. I would much rather them go out and we see what we do and what we don't have from jump. That's kind of my whole thing.
Yeah, I get you. And listen, I think, that maybe there's a couple of guys, maybe a Marcus Morris or whoever, that might end up, getting traded. Maybe a Bobby Portis, who knows, depending on, what's happening with the season. I still think, for our young guys, I think there's going to be enough minutes. I think there's going to be enough minutes to go around for them. And if they're, perform, to me, there's just something.
Shout out Sandy, bye.
There's just something to me about having being able to have those type of battles, intense battles. I think it does translate. You know what I'm saying?
And you're a coach, right? On the AAU circuit, correct?
Look, yep. Listen, I had a guy, right, who he had the talent, but he didn't have the basketball knowledge or the basketball skill. I mean, let me not say skill. He had some of the skills. He didn't have the IQ. The IQ wasn't always there, and he didn't make his high school team because of the IQ and also because of his attitude a little bit. And I used to have to go back and forth with him about where to be on the floor. You're not playing because you don't know this, you don't know that. And he was a sophomore in high school. I had some juniors, I had some seniors on the team. And these guys knew where to be on the floor, and they knew what to do. And he was intense in practice every single day, right?
Right.
And I told him, you're not going to be able to play until you know where to be on the floor. He worked at it. I worked with him. He worked at it. Some of the older guys, would kind of help him understand where to be and what I wanted them to do. And in practice. I mean, we had one-on-one battles in practice all day long, and he could win some of those one-on-one battles, right? He could win them, but he continued to work because there were guys that he couldn't beat in practice. So he continued to work. By the time he was a senior, he was one of my best leaders on the floor. And a lot had to do with some of these guys that were on the team that showed, even guys that came in, and only played with me for a couple of seasons or played with me for a season or played for a couple of tournaments. He was able to take some things from those guys. Those battles in practice, the higher the level that I could get practice, the better I could get my players to be in practice. You know what I'm saying? Because they were always practicing against a high level. Like right now, my daughter, I take her to college to play open gyms against college players because I want her to get embarrassed sometimes on the floor. I want her to feel that so that she's like, damn, I can't let this happen. Because there are things that I might point out to her on other teams where she just can't see it because she's better than everybody, or another player, they're better than everybody, so they can't see it. If you're telling them, well, you need to do this because when you get to a higher level of competition, this is what's going to happen. But it's hard for them to see.
Well, let me ask you. Yeah, if I can ask you, and listen, it may be blasphemous, right, to ask a coach such a question. But given the personality of any given player, could you ever see an instance where that kind of competition is more of a detriment to a particular player's potential development than it would be another player? And for me, in my mind, the player that always comes to mind, even though this wasn't necessarily the case during that time, was a rookie Allen Iverson and his wild, way of playing, his volume of shots, his somewhat unorthodox style of playing the point guard when he came in. Had he had his own Elfrid Payton, who was serviceable, right, and who had been around the league and was still young enough to provide him some sort of competition, do you think that would have stunted some player like Allen Iverson's growth at that time?
What you said, would it have stunted his growth? I didn't get it.
Right. So I guess what I'm saying is if you have a player who has talent, right, and obviously if we're projecting which skill set we would like to thrive moving forward, DSJ or someone like Elfrid Payton, obviously everybody would say DSJ. So if him becoming consistent with that three ball and being more efficient with the pick and roll, if he's yanked out of games situationally here and there because he's just not doing it the way the coaching staff wants him to do it, and then you put Elfrid Payton in and he actually does things a little closer to the way the coaching staff does it, that leaves very little room for DSJ to make his mistakes and to learn on the fly, even if he is getting his 25 or 30 minutes a game. As we always say, you get minutes, but where you get the minutes also matter.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, yeah, that was a huge problem last year with the Knicks. Is they had no consistency in terms of minutes, and everybody complained about that with Ntilikina, for example. So I kind of get where you're going with that, but by the same token, I kind of agree with Sim. I think competition is good, and I think veteran leadership is good. I think if he gets benched for doing something that he's not doing right, and Payton comes in and does it right, it teaches him to do it better the next time. So I don't have an issue with that. If DSJ is good, he's going to be good. Yeah. Period, end of story. He's going to learn, and he's going to become a good player. I have no problem with Elfrid Payton getting minutes. Like we always say, though, that is going to be the challenge here. He's going to have to find a way to get these veterans their proper minutes. And what you said about Morris, I completely agree with Marcus Morris. I think they basically signed this guy to trade him. I think he will be traded at the deadline, unless the Knicks, of course, are in the playoffs. I think that they saw a guy that they could get on a good deal, a guy that could be a good veteran mentor that could take some pressure off Kevin Knox. But at the trade deadline, if the Knicks are where most people think they're going to be, I think Morris is going to be traded this year. I'd be shocked if he finishes the year as a Knick, unless, like I said, they're surprising people and they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And listen, really quick, obviously, thank you guys for the time. As always, it's appreciated. But, a lot of this would be moot, right? It would be a moot point if Dennis Smith Jr. comes out and just sets the world on fire. which, obviously we're hoping that he does. As Knicks fan, if you've been as abused as I am, like, you don't really expect anything like that to happen. But listen, it could happen. He's been working out really hard over the summer. I'm sure everybody has seen the videos and the interviews where he's talking about how he's tweaked his jump shot, because of his wrist and so on and so forth. So if he comes out and is looking like the Dennis Smith Jr. that was drafted where he was drafted a couple of years ago, and he is on that arc, to being a really decent player, then all of this will be for naught. And my last point about the Knicks period is, obviously hope springs eternal, preseason, both for football and basketball, right? But for a lot of people, I feel like we need to pump the brakes a little bit. My biggest fear is that the Giants really are in playoff contention coming down the stretch of the season, and then somehow inextricably find a way to end up as a 10th or 11th seed in the Eastern Conference, right? Because obviously we know what that represents. It represents mediocrity, and you are that far removed from a lottery pick, but you are also missing out on the playoff experience for your young players. So that would be a lose-lose.
I don't know. I don't mean to cut in there. I don't know if that's lose-lose. I don't necessarily think finishing with the 10th seed is a bad thing this year, because that means that the Knicks are still going to be playing competitive basketball down the stretch, which I think is a learning experience for these younger players. I wouldn't be upset if that happened, actually, because that means that you're playing in games that mean something down the stretch. Unless, like they're the 10th seed and they finish 10 games back. But if they're like 2, 3, 4 games out of it, I think that's valuable for these young players.
I can see that. Yeah. I can see that. And listen, can somebody please tell me how to highlight somebody in the chat? I've been trying to highlight this one person in the chat for like 5 different times. You've been, and I can't do it, but they can highlight me. Can somebody just please explain this to me? Because I'm feeling developmentally delayed by not being able to do it.
All you got to do is put the @ symbol, right?
Yeah, put the @ symbol. Put @ and then.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I did that 2 different times. I used.
Well, I think when you write it. Well, I think when you write it, it doesn't show up as highlighted. I think when they write your name, it pops up as highlighted when you see it.
But when they see it, it'll come up as highlighted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're saying is I'm not stupid and to just get out of my own head. Okay, much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. That's what we're saying.
Got you. Listen, Giants for life, Knicks for life, Buckeyes for life. You two are doing your thing. I appreciate it, man, and I look forward to calling in again. Thank you so much,
bro.
Appreciate the call, man. Great subscriber. Thank you for calling in, buddy.
Great call. The one thing I did want to say, where he was at times it can be detrimental when you have a lot of competition, because you're gonna have players that rise and you're gonna have players that don't rise, and maybe need a little bit more time for development, and need a better situation. A lot depends on the maturity of a level of a player. A lot of stuff. I've had players that, because there was so much competition in practice, they left and they want to go to another team where they're like, well, you know what? I know I'm going to get playing time over here.
Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time in college. You see a lot of players go to smaller schools because they know they're going to get their 35 minutes a game.
Exactly.
You look at tons of players, So, yeah, a lot of times guys won't want to go to Duke because there's 3 other superstars there already. And they say, oh, I could go play at Murray State and I'll get my 35 minutes and I'll shine. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And, and the one thing he was saying about Allen Iverson, I'll say this. If Allen Iverson came in the league as a rookie, he came off the bench for a year or 2, right? And then he became Allen Iverson. I don't think the end of his career would have ended the way that it ended. I think because he would have had that experience coming off the bench. He would have went through the fire. He would have had to earn. I think he would have respected it more at the end of his career. And he would have been like, okay, you know what? I can come off the bench. There is a character building that comes with having to earn your way to that starting spot. One, I think you feel a little bit more proud as a player because, you went through the battles. Think about it if you're playing 2K, right? When you come in and you start and you feel good. And as soon as you come in, you start on every team. You feel good. You're like, yeah, my player is nice, right?
Yeah.
But what happens when you have those times when your player doesn't start? and they throw you on some team and you're at the end of the bench, you're like a little.
You get depressed. You get depressed. You're like maybe I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, you playing and they put you in, and then all of a sudden they take you out and they show your player at the end of the bench looking at everybody else. You know what I'm saying? But when you finally earn your way up and you become that starter, you feel a little bit better, and you'll be.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Sim. I get what you're saying. I don't think it would have been different with Allen Iverson. I don't think it would have been. He had like that alpha mentality.
He did. He did.
Yeah. I don't think it would have ever been cool with coming off the bench.
I don't know. I think getting that hit early in his career, because see, throughout high school, he never took that hit. He was all-star quarterback. All. He was
a better quarterback than Aaron Brooks in high school.
Yeah, All-American quarterback, All-American basketball player. He went to Georgetown after he went through everything he went through, going to jail and all that stuff. John Thompson picks him up and he goes to Georgetown. He's the instant best player on the team. I think it would have been humbling, a humbling experience. Maybe not. Maybe he would have cried and complained and did everything. Who knows? But I think if he would have had someone really strong and he came off the bench for a year or two, maybe he would have had a different perspective of the game. Listen, let me tell you. Allen Iverson, I went to a school, College of St. Rose, and the 76ers were playing the Knicks at the Pepsi Arena in Albany. And they came to my school to practice. And, the basketball players got to go there and watch them practice, stuff like that. He's in practice. He's breakdancing. I mean, the focus is just not there. You know what I mean? And maybe that's just him. Maybe that would have always been him. I don't know. You know what I mean? And some people can get away with that kind of stuff because of their talent. Right?
He was one of those players. I mean, we remember the infamous quotes. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. He maybe at the end of his career, he took it for granted. I get where you're going with that.
Yeah, and maybe he would have learned that lesson in the beginning, like, okay. And then, where he kind of got knocked down a notch, come off the bench, and then he earned his way to begin. I feel like there's something to it. But competition though sometimes can it can hurt a guy's confidence if they don't feel like they can make it, and sometimes that person maybe needs a little bit more coddling before their confidence is up.
I get that, but here's my take on that. Especially in New York, if you're one of those guys, you're not going to make it. Like you got to have thick skin to play in New York, and if you can't take some competition, then I don't really want you on my team, to be honest with you.
Exactly. And
I want a guy who wants to go out there and prove himself, and if somebody says you're not good enough, wants to prove that guy wrong. He wants to go out there and say, no, I am good enough. I'm better than this guy.
Right.
So I don't want players like that on my team, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And that's what I was going to say. When you have guys like that, then, maybe this ain't the sport for them, or, because competition is where it's at. You know what I mean? So I guess let's go to Guillermo. Guillermo's sitting back looking mad, like, damn, I thought they was coming to me, and now I got to sit here for another 20 minutes. So let's see what Guillermo's talk about. Guillermo, what's going on, man?
Yo, salutations to you, Sim, but thank you, ET, because you know how to treat your chat, man. This guy, Sim, stays on the phone line with dudes talking about Zion Williamson and all these guys. And I'm like, bro, you got the people in the chat with good topics. Even ET was listening, and you coming at me, and I feed you good topic. I bring you business, man. Come on, Sim. Why you hating your gunner, man?
Dude,
you see what Sim is? Sim don't like people who grow with him, right? That's why he don't like Mitch. He wants to bring in Bobby Portis, who's never won a playoff game, if I can remember.
Hold up. This guy, the guy that was on the
phone, and Mitchell Robinson. Wait a minute. Mitchell Robinson. This is why you're wrong.
Hey, hold up. Hey, wait a minute. Hold on. Hey, Chris. He doesn't.
Yo,
this everything he's saying.
Yeah.
Hold on. Everything that he is saying is irrelevant. You know why?
Why?
Because that was Chris's caller from his chat.
Steven Evans is my caller.
But you know what, Sim? I know when I look at ET's face, ET tries to play nice. I can tell when ET wants to go to another caller. He gives that dead face, like, all right, where the hell's this going? But he's smiling like, yeah, you know what? Hey, I'm here for my fans. Sim is here talking to this guy about Zion. Sim, you gotta Stop being nice to these guys, man. You got to be have a killer instinct. Like,
we didn't talk about
move
Zion.
On, man. And go back to your
We
dad.
didn't talk about
you.
Did we talk about Zion? Did we talk about Zion, Chris?
I'm like Pesci and Chris.
What'd you say, Sim?
I can't say anything because Guillermo's yelling. But anyway, did we talk about Zion? We didn't even talk about Zion.
No,
I don't remember talking about.
He mentions that. I'm joking around.
I don't remember talking about Zion. I love Guillermo. I met Guillermo at the Knicks game. Hopefully, I get to meet him again next year. He's great. Coming in with that hot take, I love it. Always brings energy to your chat. The first caller went a little long. I remember saying in my head, "All right, where's this going?" But Steven Evans is great. I love Steven Evans. They were both great.
That's what makes Guillermo. That's what makes everything you said was just irrelevant.
What? Anyway, can I kill Sim real quick since I'm Mr. Irrelevant? Let me help about the Mitchell Robinson thing. So this is what Sim wants to do. First of all, Mitchell Robinson was the only rookie last year that showed improvement throughout the year. His attitude went from normal to good. He's the only guy who was challenging guys on the perimeter. No one else was stepping out and trying to block guys on the perimeter that much. Cantor wasn't doing it. None of our big men, let me say, were doing that, right, at such a high level. Mitchell Robinson was risking his body. First of all, this is a 19-year-old kid who didn't play college, is frail, and was stepping out to block guys, right? And you're talking about not starting this kid. This kid showing from. So this is a dangerous thing, Sim. If you guys remember, there's a guy named Trevor Ariza who was on the Knicks. Larry Brown was there. Larry Brown loves veterans. Trevor Ariza could not shoot the three, right? But he could drive to the backs, and he played lockdown defense. This guy was hungry, and he also loved the Knicks. Larry Brown did not want him, and you should tell him the same thing Sim used to tell him. Oh, in the newspaper, he has to get better. All these vague things, and Trevor Ariza looking like, what the hell are you like? What do you want me to do, bro? I'm going out there. I'm playing defense, which you don't have to do in the NBA, even though back then defense still was fairly high. And it's like, what do you want from this kid? So you bring in a guy like Bobby Porter, you mess with this kid's psyche. You mess with his idea of what a meritocracy is. Like, dude, I did all this stuff. I rebounded, our defense, my block. I was blocking guys on a three-point line, and you tell me this guy Bobby Porter, who I like, but is not a defensive player. Has shown to be good. He's good on offense, but he hasn't won anything. And he's coming in, and I have to compete. Not saying that he shouldn't compete, but he's getting precedence over me. No, that's not fair. What you do with the young kids, the guys that you have, the organic guys, you feed them because those are guys, when it comes to contract time, I'd say he wouldn't take the max, but he might prefer the Knicks, or he might play harder for the Knicks versus you blow him off. Coming off the bench, me and Mark were talking about it. There are a lot of guys. If Mitchell Robinson comes off the bench, right? Say Jokic is in the game, right? He's killing us, right? He's scoring 30 points on Portis in the first half. You tell Mitchell Robinson to come in, he might come in cold, and he actually might foul more because he's under pressure to stop a guy like Jokic. Versus if he comes in, he might actually have a better feel for the game, and he might show something to Jokic that might actually annoy him early on. That might stop him from scoring 30 points. I've seen this. Guys you want coming off the bench are guys like Trier, guys who they don't understand the game at a higher level, but they have a discernible skill, and you want to showcase that skill and get production, but they can't start because they're too ISO in their game. Him, Ben Gordon, guys who cannot process the game at a high level. A guy like Mitchell Robinson, only thing I have is coaching, I want to see him shoot. I wanted him in Summer League to take 2 or 3 shots a game. I don't care if you brick it. I don't care if it lands.
I completely agree with that.
The ball because we know you can shoot, and we need you to space the floor. Mitchell Robinson also, I've watched film on Julius Randle, as I told Sim. Julius Randle's a guy who doesn't play great defense, right? But one thing Julius Randle does is he plays well with big men in terms of spacing, and he can pass very well. Mitchell Robinson will benefit the hell out of a guy like Julius Randle, and also a guy we need to talk about, R.J. Barrett, who if DSJ struggles for the point guard position, I want to see R.J. Barrett play at the point. He reminds me of a poor man's Dwayne Wade when he used to play, facilitate the ball, score, drive to the basket, cause defenses to collapse on him. Him and Mitchell Robinson would be a terror, size and physicality against smaller teams. You want to play small ball, R.J. Barrett at 6'7", playing a point, and he's feeding it to Mitchell Robinson. Go and look at R.J. Barrett in the last 2 Summer League games, especially the last Summer League game. So to beat Mitchell Robinson, I love what he showed last year. He got hurt playing Kyle Kuzma in a USA game, and it didn't really mean anything because he's going out there playing on the perimeter, squatting his knees down. That's the type of guy you reward. You know guys who benefited from being rewarded because of stuff like that? Kawhi Leonard when he first started with the Spurs. So to me, character, culture, defense, all that stuff we had the Knicks winning early on years ago, and that's the stuff that's going to get us back. It's not bringing in Bobby Portis.
Okay. You're running on for like 10 hours. All right.
That was awesome. That was awesome. Guillermo, man. Guillermo needs his own YouTube channel. That was freaking awesome.
But look,
and I agree with most of what he said.
But I agree. I mean, listen, it's very cool. It's very cool, like you said. He could come off the bench. I mean, he could start and find something against Jokic that works. He also could not. You know,
everything.
Last year, but hold up. This is why I disagree with you, Sim.
Hold up, Wormo, can I talk?
I'm sorry, my bad. I'm sorry, Sim.
Jeez, I mean, you just went off about 35 minutes. Let me get to.
I just had a call over. My bad, Sim. Go ahead, Sim. My bad.
But look, listen. You know, everybody is talking like I don't want Mitchell Robinson to start and all this kind of stuff, right? I'm just telling things that I see. And that's the best that I can do is tell things that I see. And yes, he can definitely block shots, and he's a rim protector, and he does that from the weak side. You know what I'm saying? But things are going to be different this year. This is his second year in the league. There's going to be a lot more game planning for Mitchell Robinson. There's going to be a lot more figuring out how to expose Mitchell Robinson, right? Everything that he did last year was on a 17-win team. He averaged 7 points and 6 rebounds on a 17-win team, okay? I'm not saying that he didn't do a lot of things, and show a lot of things for a guy who didn't play for a year. As a matter of fact, for him to be able to play in the NBA, that is a feat in and of itself.
Here's one thing I'm going to say to that, though, Sam. Right. You're talking about, and I agree with you, second year on tape, whatever. They're going to find ways to expose him. But who on this team is not going to get exposed at that position?
That's true.
Can I say one more thing, Sam?
Let me finish. Right? Everybody on the team, you're right, Chris. Everybody on the team, they're going to do things to get him exposed. You know what I'm saying?
Well, specifically at that position. I mean, Bobby Portis is nothing defensively.
Right. But I don't think it's just me. Right? I get the fact and look, I made a career out of working with the youth. Right? I made a career out of it. That's just what I do. You know what I mean? Since I've been doing it for the last 20 years. Working with the youth. And I get the fact that, yes, this guy did everything that I asked him to do. That doesn't always mean, how many times have you been in a job and you've done everything that was asked to do, but maybe somebody else beat you out for another position or whatever it is, and you've got to say, damn, well, I've got to start over. This guy was just better at this, or this guy was just better at that, or maybe it just fit in the lineup a certain kind of way. My argument was never with maybe Mitch is going to start. He's probably going to start. That's cool. If he does, that's good. And I want him to be the starter for years to come. I hope that he's an all-star for the next 12 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When we first had this argument, my biggest argument was with, if this is even true. I don't even know how true it is. My biggest argument, although if I was the coach, if the things that I'm seeing, even with Team USA, if the things that I'm seeing, I would, if I see those same things in team camp, then I'm a second guess starting him. But my problem was with Fizdale right from the beginning. If he said it right from the beginning to Bobby Portis, this is from Bobby Portis, didn't come from Fizdale. It's saying, yeah, Mitch is going to be the starter. I don't think he earned that yet. I mean, he started like.
I get what you're saying. I don't think I get what you're saying. Maybe he shouldn't say that he's definitely the starter. Maybe he should just let it play out and know in his head that Mitch is going to start. Maybe not like verbally give it to him. I get maybe that's what you mean. You want the best man. You want the best man.
Compliment each other.
I mean that. That's part of it. But I feel like one that to me he hasn't done anything to just be like, yeah, he is the bona fide starter. And two, I want him to come in and just if he's gonna be the starter, just take the position. I don't want anything given to anybody unless they've earned for that to be given. You know what I'm saying? I
agree with that.
I want him to
agree with that. The thing is on this team, who's your rim protection if he's not out there? That's why I think he's gonna start.
And also, it
could be that that's the reason why he.
And one thing we always say is I think it's also dependent on who they're playing. If it's there's certain teams where it might be more valuable to start a Bobby Portis.
Right.
It's all dependent on their opponent, but the majority of games I think Mitch is going to start.
Yeah, and look, and you ask who's the rim protection if he doesn't start. But let's do this. If he's only going to play 25 minutes a game, which a lot of people say he's probably only going to play 25 minutes a game, that means at that position, there's going to be another 23 minutes. 23 minutes. If he's going to play 25 minutes a game, whether or not he starts or comes off the bench, who's going to be the rim protector for those other 23 minutes anyway?
Maybe Wooten.
Yeah, but you can start. But Sim, you know that you can start games. Sometimes how you start games that dictates how the rest of the game. Obviously, there are comebacks and stuff like that. But the thing with Mitch, right? One, he compliments a lot of guys well, right? I know the spacing is one thing, and that's a new thing for centers to be able to space out, and that takes development. But Mitch Robinson, in terms of defense, I think you always need defense in your backcourt and your front court. You need at least one guy who's good in that area, above average to elite level, whatever. Mitch Robinson does that. We don't need another team of guys who are literally just looking to score, and there's no effort really on defense. There's no stalwart on defense. I'm not saying Mitch Robinson is a great defender, blah blah, but you have a young kid, and I agree with you. I don't agree with just giving guys, oh, you're a starter, but I agree. Et, have it in your mind this kid is a starter, push him, right? But like to play games and stuff back and forth. Oh, Portis, he has a game in preseason where he scores like 40 or something.
Why does everybody keep talking about Portis?
Or whichever, I'm just saying whatever center he has to play out.
Why does it have to be Portis?
The proxy center because he's 6'11" and
the one thing. I guess they could start Morris at the 4 and Randall at the 5. They could do that on certain nights. It's possible.
Oh, wait. Sorry, can I just say one thing real quick?
Taj Gibson at the 5. Taj Gibson has played the 5 a lot in his career.
Yeah. Hey, Sim, can I just say one thing real quick, chat room? Sim just said a great point, and remember this every time he talks about this one guy. He just said that you only get what you deserve, right? So why the hell is Sim and a bunch of delusional Knicks fans giving Melo more praise than this guy deserves for winning one playoff series?
Well, I'll say this. I'll say that.
I'm going to say this. Have a job in the NBA.
And I do believe he should. Melo, how many times he made the All-Star team in the past?
What does that have to do with the Knicks?
Well, then what does Mitchell Robinson, what he did last year, have to do with the Knicks this year?
Because Mitchell Robinson showed improvement. Mitchell Robinson showed improvement. He showed development.
Okay.
He's been in the league 2 years.
Okay, but Melo can still play a different role.
You give excuses for Melo.
I'm not making an excuse for Melo. Hold on. No, I'm not making an excuse for Melo. I'm not making this. I've always said Melo made his mistakes. That just because I think he can play in the league, I'm not taking away that he made his mistakes. He didn't want to come off the bench. I've always admitted that. I've always admitted that he didn't want to come off the bench. I've always admitted that, although he wasn't.
You don't got to admit it. Melo said it himself. Remember when he laughed? He laughed.
Exactly. 2 years late. Exactly. You given Melo, you said, hey, I think, look, there are only two guys from that 2003 draft that's still in the NBA. Melo should not be one of them. And Kyle Korver's almost on his way. He's
all I'm saying, I'm not. But when did I ever say that Melo shouldn't earn his spot? I never said I said that he's better than players in the NBA. Did I say he shouldn't earn it if he goes to a team?
No, but you kept clamoring for him to go to a team. There's a reason why he's not in. Melo, literally, this is Melo.
Because I believe he can play in the NBA, that means, hold on. So because I believe he can play in the NBA, that means that I don't think he needs to earn his spot on the floor?
You didn't say. Hey, if Isaiah left,
just because I think that he can play in the NBA
should have a spot in the NBA, and we're like, no, he doesn't deserve it.
I said that I believe Melo can play in the NBA. that he should still play on a team. He can still play in the NBA. If he gets on a roster, he's still got to earn his spot. He's still got to earn his chance to play.
Sim thinks he's slick. You know you have your videos still on YouTube. I'm gonna go back to our Melo discussion, and I'm gonna carve it out. I hope you have a show tomorrow. I'm gonna carve it out. I don't even know how to use the video software. I'm gonna carve out the time you said Melo should be on a team. I remember this vividly. I don't know if Mark was
okay. Yes, I do believe he should be on a team in the NBA because I do not believe that every team in the NBA has 15 players that are better than him. I do believe that he should be on a team, but that does not mean,
and this is the thing that I love about
that
Mitch.
does not
it's
mean
not about if you're better. It's if you're more committed.
That does not
Mitch
mean
is more committed to a thing that
does not mean that he doesn't have to earn what he gets.
I see both. I'm gonna be honest here. I'm gonna be the mediator.
Earn what he gets.
I see both sides here. I see both sides here because I agree with Sim that Melo is definitely better than some players in the NBA. There's no doubt about it. But I see Guillermo's side too, and my point would be, I don't know if Melo would be willing to be that 10th guy on a basketball team.
Not?
Where well, we don't know. Where like would he be willing to take a role like Taj Gibson is willing to take this year? I don't know if Melo would. Is his ego too big?
Right, and he might not. And if Gorman was watching earlier, he would have heard when we were talking about Melo when I said I wouldn't want him on this team because he'd be too big of a personality and influence the young guys, and we need to have a different personality with these guys here. And if he went to a team and they said we want you coming off the bench, you're the 10th player. He said, no, I'm not going to do that. Then he can be seen the door because that's his role now. I've never, ever, ever said that. That should not.
Oh no, I don't think you said that. No, I see both sides because I don't know. I think Melo will be willing to come off the bench.
I think he would too.
I don't know if he'd be willing to come off the bench as like the 4th or 5th guy.
Yeah, but see, Guillermo is trying to say that Guillermo's trying to question my value system, saying that
no. I would never
players. I do not have different values.
I'm just saying your consistency.
Let's put it like this.
How you look at certain players. Now, I will admit, when we talked about the Melo thing for the second time after we signed all the free agents, you did say that if we didn't, I think you said before, like if we didn't get what's this guy's name, Katie and Kyrie, blah blah. You said that you wouldn't mind Melo on the team.
Right.
I remember you saying that.
Right.
All I'm saying is that with Melo and Mitch. You have a guy, yes, Melo is better than a bunch of people in this league, but it's all about commitment. And I think that when you have a guy like Mitchell Robinson, we talked about, Mitchell Robinson showed you that he showed improvement from last year. You talk about guys figuring him out. Remember, he used to get in foul trouble. He used to get like 3 fouls in the first 1.5 quarters, especially when DJ came, he improved. So if you are good in the NBA, you are going to improve no matter how they try to figure you out. There are a bunch of guys in the NBA. I know what Michael Jordan's going to do. I can't stop it. I know what Kobe's going to do. I can't. Not me, but the NBA. These guys can't stop. I'm not saying Mitch Robinson on that level. Joking. You can't stop it. Draymond, Curry, you can't stop it. But Mitchell Robinson, if he's developing, it doesn't matter what you have in terms of the book and the scouting of him. If he's that good, he's going to show you different looks to be good. Maybe he moves around more. He cuts the basket a little bit more, comes at different angles. They have guys around him that it seems that he has a good attitude on his hands that he wants to improve. So it doesn't matter they figure out. It matters how you raise your level. And the guy showed in his first year without playing college basketball that he can elevate his game. I'm not saying he's an all-star, whatever, but he's elevated his game. I just feel like you reward those guys. Not saying he's automatic, but you reward those guys.
I'm going to give you an example, though. I'm going to give you
for you, man. I know you got to go to other guys.
Yeah. I'm just going to give you a quick example, though, Guillermo, of a guy that he reminds me a lot of that came off the bench early in his career and he later became a starter and he was very successful, and that's Marcus Camby. Marcus Camby came off the bench for the Knicks, and he played great in that role. And then he later became, a defensive player of the year type player.
But he played behind Ewing, right?
Yeah.
Or you came behind Ewing, then Ewing.
No. That's a good point.
See, so Mitchell Robinson doesn't have that. And I think that, yes, it was a 17-win team last year, right? And Mitchell Robinson is not Jokic. Jokic, I think, can by himself take you to 40 wins because he's so versatile and he can score and he has good defense. But Mitchell Robinson and what we asked him to do last year and his attitude. Trey was fighting with guys on the team. You know what I mean? Trey was playing ISO basketball. Mitchell Robinson, honest to God, his agent could have said, yo, bro, you're doing a little bit too much jumping at guys on the perimeter trying to block shots. We need you to save yourself until you get to the next contract so you're not wasting your money, right? Look what just happened with DeMarcus Cousins. You know, he could. It's happening in the future, but he can say, don't hurt yourself. And Mitch Robinson's like, no, let me play. This guy was fighting with Marcus Moore, not fighting, but he's like, dude, you're not going to step on me. And those are guys, we always talk about the old Knicks. All Knicks, blah, blah, blah. And then when we have, not saying you coming at him like you don't like him, Sim, but we have a guy who represents that. We need to push him. You need to celebrate him. You need to push him, and you need to force him to elevate his game. Mitchell Robinson, you're going to play, and you're going to take 2 threes a game. I don't care if it's a air ball. Shoot this damn three because we want you to be a star in this team, man.
I get that.
That's why I feel I'm more in the case of building. Porter's only here for 1-2 years. He might not be here more than Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson could easily be a cornerstone, or he could be a Trevor Ariza, where you might see Mitchell Robinson shooting 3 threes a game for the Lakers or whoever, and it's like, damn, because we didn't give this kid confidence, we didn't build him up. We kind of pushed him away. He lost confidence. He went to another team. I
agree. I agree that you got to reward the guys, right? He's a hard-working kid. He's trying to get better. He's doing what he has to do, and you want to reward him, right? I get that. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like to me, and maybe this is just me, and maybe this is my old school mentality. I'm about 10 years older than you, Guillermo, right? Maybe it's just my old school mentality. You know what I'm saying? But everybody is so hung up on somebody being a starter. If he played less minutes, if he played 18 minutes a game, then you'd be like, damn, I'm only playing 18 minutes a game. So would we be happy if he's starting and he's playing 18 minutes a game? Okay, well, he was rewarded because he's a starter. Right? Will we be happy then?
But you only play him 18 minutes a game if he gets tired or he's drawing foul trouble.
No, understand what I'm saying.
Then you take him out as like, hey, dude, we need to help develop you back into what you were at the end of last season. Where
Listen to what I'm saying.
30 minutes a game.
Listen to what I'm saying.
I'm sorry.
Listen to what I'm saying. Okay? So let's just say, okay, if the reward is him starting, okay, you're starting, but you're only playing 18 minutes a game. I'm just using this. This is all hypothetical, of course, right? But man, what if he's not starting and he's getting 30 minutes a game? You know what I'm saying? That's a reward too. He's getting 30 minutes a game, more than I think he played like 22 minutes a game last season, right?
Yeah, 22. Yeah, I actually think it might have been 20. But I'm with you, Sim, on this. This is where I think he's going to start, but I don't care if he starts.
I think he is too.
I care if he finishes. I don't care as long as he gets 25 to 30 minutes. I don't care how he gets them. Yeah, as long as he's getting them.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't.
Sim, please go to other guys in the chat because everyone's waiting. So
yeah, I know. I just don't think.
I don't want to hide the time.
Great talking to you, buddy.
I don't think that him not starting, if he doesn't start, or if he didn't start, I don't think that him not starting is. If we're saying that he has the character that he has, he works as hard as he works, and all this other stuff. I don't think him not starting is going to derail his career. As a matter of fact, I think it can help his career. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? As a guy that needs to learn as much about the game as possible. You know what I mean? Yes, you can learn it as a starter, but you can also learn it coming off the bench too. You know what I mean? And I think coming off the bench, I feel like for some people gives you a little bit, it gives you, the chance to, it gives you the chance to see the game differently. As you're sitting on the bench to start the game, you see the game a little bit differently. As a matter of fact, for some people, I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. For some people, I've started players because they're not good. Honestly.
Oh, look at last year. The Knicks did that.
Yeah,
Lance Thomas, right?
Yeah.
Because there's tons of teams that do that.
Yeah, because
they start guys that you think should be like the 8th or 9th guy on the roster.
Yeah, because when your game really starts to pick up, your game starts to really pick up and get physical midway through that second quarter. right? You get 6 minutes into the second quarter. Now the game is really starting to pick up and get physical. You get back into that third quarter. You start to reach that really, you're really starting to grind it out in that game. A lot of times coaches put a player in for that first 5 minutes, because I know Mark was talking a lot about this first 5 minutes, and you got to learn how to start out and come out, da-da-da-da. Well, a lot of times that first 5 minutes is a filling out period for a lot of teams. You know what I'm saying? You're just breaking a sweat. You're just getting your legs under you. You're just moving. You're just getting around and doing this and doing that. You know what I'm saying? And then, afterwards, when you get more into that, you get into that.
Well, once you get the flow of the game.
Yeah. You get into that second quarter, now guys are coming in and they're ready to play. Your guys come off the bench about the end of the first quarter. You got guys coming off the bench. They're playing, they're getting their legs wet. They're getting into the game. And then you get into that 6 minute mark. The starters now come back into the game, but now they're ready to go. They've been warmed up. They've seen the game. There's a flow to the game. Now they're really ready to go and ready to go bang. And sometimes you get coaches who they start somebody who's not as good so that later on they can get their playing time out the way a little bit when the game is a little bit slow, and then they can play who they want to play, later on in the game. It happens that way. You know what I mean? Now,
yeah.
So maybe that's what Mark is saying. Put him in when the game is slow.
Plus, it takes some pressure off of him too. So I get both. I get both sides of the argument. That's why I kind of think it's valuable not to start Knox this year, because I think it takes some of the pressure off of him. But I think Mitch is going to start. I think this argument is. Pointless, to be honest, because I think he's going to start.
I think he's going to start. But I feel like this. I feel it's more detrimental, and I'm hoping. I do not want this to happen. If he starts, I want him to keep that position.
I agree with that
position.
Yeah,
right.
I completely agree with that.
If he's starting, I want them to be like, well, I mean, you can't just hold the position if you're not doing it. But I want him to play well enough so that he can't lose it, because it will hurt a whole lot more if he's starting and he's not able to do it, and then you got to start somebody else. That's
a great point.
That will hurt his confidence a lot more than if he's coming off the bench and then he earns his way to becoming a starter. So if they start him, they better know that he is by and far the best man for that job. That's
a great point
about it.
That's a great point you bring up, Sam.
You're gonna start him? No, for real. That's my whole thing about him earning it. That's my whole thing.
I think he's good. I think he's good enough though, because the thing I'll say about Mitch is it's not like he has the type of game where you have to worry about like inefficiency that he's gonna. His game is pretty straightforward. He's kind of like Tyson Chandler. He's a guy that's going to score the majority of his baskets from 4 feet and in. He's going to give you good hustle defense, and I think he's fine. I think he's going to be able to do that just fine this year. So I don't really see any issues with starting him.
But look, when you start him, I mean, Fizz got to know this is it, because playing around, moving him in and out of the lineup, it's just you got to know it's it. You know what I mean? Know that this is the guy that's going to start, because taking him out of the starting lineup will hurt his confidence a whole lot more. That's what I agree with that.
If there's a possibility you think you could take him out, it might be smarter to start on the bench. It's a good point you bring up.
That's right. Yeah. Well, let's come down to how do you say his name? Is this Juan?
Lawan.
All right, let's go to Lawan. I used to have a guy on one of my basketball teams named Lawan.
Well, there you go.
What's going on, Lawan? How you feel?
Yeah, if you look at
Lawan, you're live, buddy.
Hey, Lawan, it's on you, buddy.
You okay? My bad. I had you muted. My bad, because I was talking to Mark. I want to talk about.
Hey, Lawan, just one thing. Mark will keep you off track. Okay, if you learn anything about this chat, Mark will keep you off track. Mark will have you someplace else. But all right, go ahead, man.
I want to talk about Melo and Porzingis, but I'm gonna start off with Melo because you guys, I think he'll be a good off the bench. He'll be a good player off the bench because number one, his offense, and I feel like he'll be a good veteran. But recently, this happened yesterday, that he was working out in informal team workouts with the Brooklyn Nets, and there's like pictures. So
we were talking about that earlier at the beginning of the show.
I didn't know. I didn't know about that. Sorry. So I think Melo. I honestly do want Melo to go to the Nets because that's like his hometown team, like technically more of his hometown team. But but Porzingis, I want to say like Mark is getting hype over Porzingis for like literally no reason, just because he got buff a little bit. But I think Porzingis, I don't think he's gonna be the same anymore after that injury. Like a lot of players don't come back from that. That all I wanted to say. Anyways, I gotta go. My parents are sleeping, and then I gotta go to the beach tomorrow. I'm sorry for not like talking that much, but I have to go. But I'll be here tomorrow because I got a game. Like I got a game to streamers. Never mind. I'm not gonna talk about it. But my football team playing tomorrow, and I gotta go to the beach. And I'll see you tomorrow. I mean, next time.
Man, thank you for popping in, buddy. And we appreciate it, man. Great subscriber, great supporter. And go over there and check out his channel if you haven't done so.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I've been ever since you got clapped. I like checked it out for a long time.
Appreciate it,
man.
I wish I would have got you on a little bit earlier. So but
it's okay.
We'll get you next time.
All right, man. I'll come here next time, and thank you for having me, man.
I appreciate you, man. Have a good one. Enjoy your day at the beach.
All right, peace.
Have a good one.
All right, buddy.
Later, peace.
Hey, I'm getting off.
All right, who we got down there? Andy, my man, Andy. What's up, Andy?
Yo, what's up, guys?
What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, I was sleeping and I heard Mark, going in about Mitch and stuff like that, and I'm like, no, yeah, for real. I was like, oh man, I gotta go downstairs and join in. This is good stuff. So I had to go up, and I had a little bit, few shots too many maybe yesterday evening. So I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna wake up for the show. But I was like, no, this thing is gold. So I had to join in.
Yeah.
And the second thing, I don't know if you talked about the contest. So I posted a few memes. I want the guys to know that no offense, stuff like that. So I knew they can take a joke though.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love those memes that you posted, man. And I mean,
and they're on point as well.
We'll find out tomorrow, but I think you might win that contest, man. Those memes are great.
Yeah.
What memes are you talking about?
I made a few memes about Mark, Guillermo, Nate, and the guy from the appearance.
Oh, I gotta see that.
But they're on point, man.
Yeah, they're pretty good, man. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Yo, and one more thing. When the Mark was talking, about KP just Mitch and stuff like that, and you were discussing it, everything that he was saying, doesn't it apply to Frank?
Everything that Mark was saying.
Yeah, that he deserves a chance, minutes on the court because he makes this and this better, this and this, and stuff like that. Everything that he said, I actually, when I was a little bit maybe sleeping and stuff like that, I was like, man, is he talking about Frank or Mitch?
Yeah, well, the one thing I will say is Mark has always felt like Frank should be, he always wanted Frank to be on the team, play on the team because he liked the thing that Frank does. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I still believe that Frank's he's got to get it. He's got to.
Yeah, I don't just about the difference is maybe the aggressiveness on the offensive, side of the court.
And I think the other difference between their situations is what we kind of just talked about with Mitch. Mitch, I think, is the best guy at that position on the team. Where Frank is like the third best point guard, and you could even maybe argue fourth if Barrett plays well at that position. So Mitch doesn't really have much competition. So that's why I get what you're saying. Because Frank definitely does some things better than the guys that are ahead of him. But Mitch doesn't have any competition. Mitch is going to get minutes regardless, and Frank does. Yeah. Yeah,
but Mark was talking about that he makes guys around him better and stuff like that. He defends the perimeter. He defends actually because I don't see those guys. Maybe now Alfred is going to be a better defender than Dennis Smith because those guys are going to be whack. And if you know this, I'm sure you did see the videos and the games that when Frank was playing the point guard, how he was stopping the other point guards and shooting guards. The Harden game, maybe he scored a little bit much, but still, if someone else would be on Harden, he would get those 60 on us. So he really stops, the guy with the ball on the other team. So
Yeah, no, Frank definitely has value. In spurts, I expect them to close out some games for this team, depending on the situation. If they need a defensive stop, not down the last play of the game, something like that, you bring them in for defense. But I just don't see him getting that many minutes on this team. I really don't, and that's what I worry about. I think it's going to be hard for him to develop on this team. They're too deep.
Exactly. That's why I'm talking about the playing time. You can't develop without playing time. It's impossible. And you can practice with the best guys in the world, and if you won't be on the court when it matters, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. A lot's going to be on Frank. It's going to be on Frank too. I mean, listen, you got to have playing time. You got to have playing time. You got to play in order to develop as a player. No matter what level you're at, you got to be able to play, right? But also, you also have to be able to beat out the guys that's in front of you. You got to find a way to get that playing time, because I think it can. To me, it can hurt a player if you're just going to throw him out there just because, he's got to play, but he's really not better than the players that's on the team. Now, if they're a bunch of veterans, like was saying, if they're a bunch of veterans and, this guy's just here like a Jarrett Jack, right? Was just here to mentor some of the young guys. Well, okay, let's throw him out there and let Jarrett Jack be the mentor. Let Jarrett Jack come off the bench and be the mentor. But if you're playing and you got some guys that, all three of the point guards you're looking at could be your future.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Then, I mean, it's a healthy competition that you got to just beat out the next man. It's very tough. It's tricky, man. It's hard. It's very hard. Yeah. I mean, I know as a coach, I've had players who were starters for me one season, and the next season somebody else come along. Either they got better because they developed, or they someone new came to my team. And listen, players know. I don't care what nobody says. Players know. They get on a team and somebody's better than them. They, in their heart, they're like, damn, I might lose my spot because this guy is good. You know what I'm saying? It just happens that way. I had with my girls' AAU team, right? We had a team. The first year we had a team. Boom, we played. I had certain players who were starters, this and that. Everyone's developing. So every year when we come back, your spot's up for grabs. If you're not getting it and you didn't do the work to develop and get better, and you're not better than the next person, there's nothing I can do about it. It's on you, and maybe you have physical limitations that stop you from getting better. I don't know, but it's nothing I can do about it. I'm gonna put on the floor the people that's gonna contribute the best to the team. That doesn't mean you're not gonna play. It is what it is. So I had my team, and I had a girl come in. Right? It was our first tournament. She hadn't even been to practice. She came in. We were getting our butts whipped. I said, come on, let's go. I'll put her on the floor. She started cooking. As soon as she got on the floor, the next game of that tournament, I started her. And I didn't give a damn what the parents said. I didn't give a damn what the other players said. I started her.
She earned it.
She hadn't been to a practice. But not one player said a damn thing. You know why? Because when they looked on the floor and see what she started doing, they knew. They could see it. They knew that they were not better than her. And then, of course, she became, one of the hard, when she finally came to practice, she was one of the hardest workers, the most committed, all those type of things. So it was all good. But that's how it is in the world of basketball, man. You know what I'm saying? You can come to a team, you can go to a team, and now, I am fair, though. If we've been in season and we've played 5 tournaments already, and I have somebody new come to the team, and they might have been to practice for 2 weeks, I don't just start them, even if they're better. You know what I'm saying? I make them come off the bench. Because I give that respect to the people that's been there. They've been to practice. They've been there the entire season. I give them that respect. I might know in my mind this person is about to become the starter. Unless it just works really well with them coming off the bench. But eventually, and everybody knows. They know. I mean, I've had players tell me, I knew that. I knew she was about to start. I could feel it. I could see, I can't do what she can do. Players know. You know what I'm saying? They know. As much as somebody might complain, Carmelo, he knows. He can feel it. He can feel when he goes to the basket and he's trying to go up that he's getting blocked every time. Right. You know it, like, damn, I'm getting blocked every time I go to the basket. Amari Stoudemire was the same way. Players know, man. They get it. They get it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so,
I hear that.
Go in there and earn it. I see Guillermo got out the chat because, he knew I was about to come for him.
He didn't even say goodbye. I love Guillermo, though. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. He got out the chat. Guillermo should be there Monday.
Is it good? Good. Yeah, I like Guillermo. Mark's going to be there?
I don't know. I haven't had a chance to talk to Mark, but I was going to ask him. I don't have Mark's phone number or nothing like that. Mark is like a ghost or something like that. That's why his name is Who's Mark, What'd you say, Mark?
I said you can take my number down. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, because
you didn't ask for it. You can take my number down.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask. He said I can ask for it. He gave me permission to ask for his number. So, Mark, I'm not going to ask you.
I got Mark's number.
I don't even have his number.
Yeah, I got Mark's number.
I don't even have his number.
I'll send it to you in your email, Sim.
Yeah, send it to me. Because,
no doubt.
we're doing a little get-together of VIP members Monday. You know what I'm saying?
Where you doing it at?
I'm not exactly sure where we're going to meet at afterwards, but we are going to meet, we're going to meet on West 4th Street.
Okay, yeah, that's around my town. I'll be over there a lot.
We're gonna meet and play some basketball, talk Knicks and stuff like that. I'm shooting.
All right, big facts.
So I should show up in basketball shorts?
I'm coming in basketball shorts, just to let y'all know, because it's gonna be hot too.
All right, yeah, we shooting a little video for Booking.com.
Oh, you gotta add. Okay, I see you, Playboy.
Shoot. It's not gonna be on my channel. It's gonna be
but it's an ad still.
It's a different company. It's a different company that's shooting the video.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And be in the video a little bit, and then they're gonna pass it on and do whatever they do with it. So, but it's gonna be pretty dope. It's gonna be pretty cool.
All right, y'all join. I'll be there, no doubt.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
Yeah. So make sure you send me your number tonight so I can give you all.
I'll send it right away.
Yeah, man.
I'll send it right away. So, what you logging off right now?
I don't know. Talking to Chris, I don't know, man. We got anything else we need to discuss? I don't know. We went through a lot. Got my
we off season. We had a 3-hour show in the off season.
Yeah.
Tonight's show is what I always dreamed about. This was TV 14 tonight. I felt like these guys in the video chat brought it to Sid tonight, and I was proud of them. It took a while to add my toxicness into the video chat and then spew it in there. And some of them came out tonight, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate Guano tonight because he came in hot. He never did that before. So
he came in. He was lava tonight.
I'm proud of him. Tonight felt like we joined the Crips tonight. I like that. But
Romo does that sometimes, man. He look.
Now tonight was a different verbiage. I felt it. It was different. The attitude was just different tonight.
Yeah,
he wasn't talking. He was talking with a purpose.
Yeah,
I'm coming at you, Sim.
Guillermo says when Isaiah's not in the chat, I come for him. That's what he said. If Isaiah's not in the chat, if Isaiah's not there, he says I come for him, and I try to,
Well, you come. I won't say you come from. What I look at it, you make a little introduction for your guys. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah,
because it's like when Tony. It's like when Tony calls in. He always calls in and said, "What are we talking about?" How the hell you don't know what we talking about? You don't call in. You have to be listening to be calling in. So I took it as that the guy, he don't know how to introduce himself to the chat. So good job, Sim, of try to add a little humor. To the video chat for a little introduction. So it's cool. It's cool.
I missed Isaiah tonight. Isaiah popped out. He was in for 10 minutes. He ate a couple of chicken wings and he went to bed.
Hey,
he was asleep.
got about
when you don't give Isaiah in the video chat, he tends to, goes his own way because he wasn't getting the attention tonight in the chat. So when he doesn't, that's when he logs off. Sometimes Isaiah needs the attention. It's okay though.
Yeah.
He came on to have a great show, but tonight was TV 14. This reminded me of Monday Night Raw in 1997 when Stone Cold became the face of WWE and saved it that year. It was great tonight. How did you like your show tonight, Sim?
Oh, we had fun. We had fun.
How did you like the heat?
We had fun.
Yeah, he got heat tonight. That was fun though.
Hold on, and you know what? I can't wait. I love reading your YouTube comments. I be going back and back into your video and be chatting up a store. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is a great show, man. Listen,
fun, man.
I can't wait till Monday, and I can't wait till another show. I can't wait till opening night. I got something sweet for y'all. It's gonna be funny. It's going to be real funny.
Hey, Mark, I'm telling you right now, if you walk in that lounge with a KP jersey on,
not just a KP jersey, it's going to be signed.
If you walk in there with a KP jersey on, I'm going to throw you up. I'm throwing you off the balcony. I'm throwing you off Chase Bridge.
You know what's so crazy, Sam? You know what's so crazy? I've been on eBay for a few days because he had like a shoe with Adidas. I'm trying to find the shoe and walk in with a size 13 shoe. I'm coming geared up. I'm coming with a unicorn mask. I'm coming geared up. So y'all get ready. Y'all get ready. Because guess what? My man is swolled up. He's coming for us, and I'm glad he is because he's going to teach us a lesson. He's going to teach his organization a lesson. You don't let go of a talent like that. And it's going to be, I can't wait to Dallas night. It's to a point I'm trying to book me a ticket to even go to Dallas. I just want to be heavily involved.
Mark is obsessed with Porzingis.
I just want to be heavily involved with Porzingis when it comes to the Knicks. Anytime he comes for the near future, I want him to kick our ass, depending on if we're good. I want him to kick our ass. But for the next 2 years, I want him to continue to damage us. I want him to show the rest of the chat that called him soft. I don't know where they get that from. I want to show you what he can be in this league. Okay? So y'all get ready. Right. Y'all get ready.
Because Mark is the best man.
My Knicks promo video, it's gonna be funny. I already got it glued up in my head. I just need to get the materials, and boy, y'all gonna laugh your behinds off. I can't wait.
All right.
Looking forward to it, man.
All right.
Entertaining my ravioli, brother. Take it easy.
You too, Mark, man.
Easy.
Always love talking to you, buddy. Hopefully I see you on Monday.
You know what it is. It is. The chat, I love you. Love y'all guys.
All right, man.
Peace out.
Mark. Peace. Andy, you want to give us last words, man?
No, I mean, I actually don't have even last words. I wasn't, the full show, so I can't comment. I'm not gonna be like commenting on stuff like that. I didn't see like some guys comment on Frank's game on International. They just see a minute highlight and they talk about an hour about it. So
yeah. Nah, I feel you, man. All right, well.
Yeah, but it was fun. Of course, I'm gonna rewatch the show like in a few minutes. So
okay.
So it's gonna be good. Sim, are we on to tomorrow?
You know what? I'm not gonna be able to. I've got to drive to Norfolk, Virginia tomorrow to a basketball camp. I don't think I'm gonna really be able to be back on until Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Because I tomorrow, check this out. So tomorrow I drive to, I drive to Virginia. Well, I live in Maryland. I drive to Norfolk. That's about 3 hours from me, right? I'm gonna spend the night, and then we're gonna do basketball camp in the morning. It's from 10 to 4. Then 4 o'clock. I'm driving back to DC, 3 hours, and then from DC. I'm driving to Albany on Saturday.
Oh my God!
Right, and then I'm gonna stay in Albany, right outside of Albany. I'm gonna stay overnight, and then Monday morning I'll be driving to Manhattan for to do the video shoot.
Wait, so you're driving? How far is the drive? 3 hours initially?
So 3 hours from Norfolk, Virginia to DC, I'm gonna drop off my daughter, drop off my wife. Then I'm getting back in the car, driving to Albany.
And how far? That's like a 10-hour drive, right?
No, Albany's like 5.
Oh, okay. I thought it was further than that.
Man, it's like a 5-hour
But still,
drive.
that's a long day.
Long day. And then, I'm gonna be there Sundays, hang out with the family. And then Monday morning, I'm get up early Monday morning, and I'm gonna drive to Manhattan.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
You are dedicated, man.
It's gonna be, and then I'm gonna spend all day. I mean, right now the schedule has us booked from 10:30 till 5:30, 10:30 to 7:30, shooting this. So it's gonna be a day. It's gonna be a weekend. It's gonna be a crazy weekend. So I might try to get on live a little bit, maybe during the shoot or something like that, if they allow me. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna allow. I will definitely. I'm gonna try to, when we're all sitting down on Monday and have something to eat and we're just kind of talking Knicks, I'm gonna try to go live then.
Yeah, it's a good time to do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to go live then, and just have everybody. I'll definitely be recording, and then we're gonna edit that up and put it out. But I might do like a couple of short little videos here and there to just kind of talk about what we're doing and get some shots of people and stuff like that. I might do something like that.
All right.
But another show, I don't think I'm going to be able to do another show until next Tuesday night.
Yeah, you'll be way too tired, man.
I just wanted to clear out, the air about the memes so the guys don't get upset. I think they can take a joke, but not everyone maybe.
Yeah, yeah. They can take a joke. They're good.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I might do a little video with just the memes and just so that they can see it, to make sure they see it. Yeah. But all right, Andy, man. So listen, I'm sure I'll talk to you in between then.
Exactly.
All right, man. All right, have a good one.
Peace out, guys.
Peace.
Good talking to you,
Shout
Andy.
out Entertainah.
Have a good night, buddy.
Yeah, Chris, it's gonna be a busy weekend, man.
I don't know how you do it, man. Every time I talk to you, you are on the run.
On the run, and I need a rest. I need a break. I'm not even gonna lie. I need a bit of a break.
You need like a 2-week vacation.
Something.
Yeah. You're a hard worker. Well, we're both hard workers. We're on YouTube all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, man, had fun tonight. Got to talk to your channel a lot. Got Guillermo came on here. Mark came on here. They came after you. That's always fun.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure if we do it like this more often, some of you guys they'll figure out how to get in.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Especially if we do a giant show. Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, man, always have fun, man. But I can't believe we're live for 3 hours. Well, you do this every show. You're live like 3-4 hours every show.
I know, and I don't mean to. Sometimes I go into it, I'm like, okay, I'm doing an hour and a half. That's it, tops. It ends up being 3 hours anyway, but.
Yeah, you're crazy, man. You're great though. You're great. Your community is insane. It's amazing.
Yeah, we have a great time, man. But I'm looking forward to Monday, man. I get to see everybody. I'm gonna make sure I send you what the agenda is, and I should talk to them a little bit more tomorrow, so that we know, we just got everything straight. But I'm looking forward to Monday, man. We can all get together. It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, I'm free. I don't know what time you're gonna be doing it, but anywhere between like noon and 6, 7. So I'll be there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
All right. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. I see a couple people still in my chat. Brandon Rogers, Gabe, if you're still there, Gritty City, Noah Kale. Thank you to everybody that was here from my stream. Thank you to everybody, obviously, that was here from on your channel for watching the show. Yeah, man, I love doing this, man. Yeah, man, I love it. And please, if you're in my channel and you haven't subscribed to the Entertainah, just make sure you go to the Entertainah Talking Sports and subscribe. It'll be in my description as well. So make sure you subscribe to him, and you'll be able to follow whatever he's talking about that night. Like we said earlier, if it's alligators coming out of New York City. Well, right now I'm focused predominantly on the Giants, but I try to do a Knicks video a week to try to keep up with the Knicks stuff. Yeah, and the Mets if they get back into the playoff race, but mainly it's going to be Giants right now because Sim, football's getting underway. That's it, man. It's big.
It's getting underway. I'm excited too.
Yeah, man. Hopefully these our Giants prove some people wrong this year.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's gonna be an interesting season with Daniel Jones and Eli and everything, but all of our injuries but this is the type of season that the Giants usually surprise somebody.
Barkley part 2 this year, man. Hopefully breaks the record this year. Something. Maybe he has 2,000 yards rushing.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see the locker room this year. With the head cases gone and the offensive line revamped. Maybe the Giants surprise some people.
Yeah. Exactly. But all right, man. I'm gonna get up out of here. I'll we'll definitely talk so we can talk about Monday.
For sure. All
right.
Have a great night, everybody. Again, thank you for tuning in, and have a great night, guys.
Peace.